Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our second broadcast of the night. We just wrapped up with WTL World Team League round number 8, day 1, and now we're back with some OSC King of the Hill action. If you're unsatiated, we got you covered with plenty of StarCraft, as always, here on the channel. Welcome, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. I'm, of course, your Live VIP, and with me, we have our two amazing players. We have our King and we have our Challenger, and in the bottom right-hand corner, we have our first Challenger of the night. We have the Blue Protoss player representing Twisted Minds. It is Shameless. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Na'Vi. It is Spirit. Any further chat? Predictions? Why not, PAPI? Why not? Predictions are open for a short period of time. Best of luck in the chat. For those that are curious, what the hell are we casting? What's going on? Welcome, everyone. Welcome to OSC King of the Hill. This is a weekly King of the Hill style tournament. What does that mean? That means this is not a best of 5. It's not a best of 3. This is a best of 1. Best of 1 here between Spirit and Shameless. We have 15 best of 1s, 15 players lined up for us, 15 challengers, if you will, and one by one, players will rise, players will fall. In this best of 1 format, only one may stand strong here, and basically the way this works is that for every win you get extra money. You get basically money depending on how many maps you do take and how long your reign lasts. For the time being, Spirit is the reigning King of the Hill. He was the last champion. He was the last reigning player in last week's tournament. And now he's back. He's back here to retain that throne even, and to make sure that no one takes it away from him. Also, my apologies. I do need to sort out my settings. Beautiful. As for now, single gas opener. It's going to be a Rax Expand economic opener out of Spirit. Meanwhile, Shameless across the map going for a standard opener himself. We're easing our way into our first map. We're easing our way into our initial series here in the tournament. And again, shout out to Eddie, of course. Shout out to OSC for hosting this event, for funding the event, and for having this event for so long. It's been 176 weeks of OSC King of the Hill. It's been running for many, many years at this point, and I hope for many more as well. Hoping for many more. As for now, do have our initial Adept moving out across the map, back at home, Spirit getting to his own factory production as well. Just kind of settling in here. We have our tech of choice, not a Stargate. We're going for a Twilight Council opener. This should be Blink, but we have seen players play around with something crazy like a DT opener or rushing into charge. Not unheard of, but should be Blink from Shameless. Should be Blink, as we have our initial Adept shading across the map, getting a read of what's going on. Does scout the CC, so we are aware it's not a one base all in. Again, not unheard of to see Terran players even embrace one base all ins, but at least Shameless is aware. Does confirm. Even getting some hits off on the Widowmine. Doesn't get the kill, do get the repair off. Widowmine does maintain itself. We can see Spirit setting up for a drop. Starport's on the way. This should be for a medevac, should be for our Cyclone, should be for drop play. Not a standard Widowmine drop, it's a bit of a kitchen sink. It's a Widowmine, Cyclone, and Marines. Quite an aggressive army here. We have a lot of potential with it, a lot of micro potential as well. So Spirit is soon going to be moving out across the map. Back at home, Shameless is getting ready. We have a gateway on the low ground, we have a gateway on the high ground, 2-gate Blink for the time being. This could just be 2-gate Blink into a third, could be an economic opener, or we could throw down a third gateway just to be safe, just to be secure. So we'll see how many gateways we settle into. The higher the gateway count, the more aggressive we're going to be. For now, there's that move out that we spoke about. We have the medevac to maintain the Marines, to micro back and juggle the Cyclone as well. So again, a lot of potential with this move out as we head towards the natural. And Shameless getting ready. We have a shield battery, we have an overcharge, we have our units in position. We should be okay. Big shot on that one as Widowmine does burrow. It does survive, does burrow in time. Zoning away the army. We can see Spirit threatening a drop into the main. Oh! Forcing the rotation, going for the shield battery. But alas, for now, we are defending, we are keeping up. Spirit dropping all the way into the main, going for the mineral line. Yeah, probes are being targeted at the same time, so is the medevac. It's going to be a one-way trip. We shut down the medevac. Oh, it does cost us a stalker. Not just one, gonna cost us a second Stalker as well. Aye, aye, aye. Some brutal losses, but we will clean this up. At the same time, Spirit does reinforce across the map. We clean up the drop, we can focus on the main push. And now without a medevac, we cannot threaten the main. Looking at the unit slots tab, that was a medevac, a Cyclone, 3 Marines for 2 Stalkers and a probe. I mean, 2 Stalkers is quite a bit of gas. You can see that the resources lost are pretty comparable with each other, but Spirit did lose that much more. As he does snipe the Observer. We have double bunker on the way to survive the counterattack. We can see that Shameless is teching. That's a 3rd gateway, Forge, Bay into a 3rd base. Again, Shameless has no intention to be too aggressive across the map. He's just teching up, focusing on his economy, focusing on the mid game. We're settling on down. Meanwhile, as Spirit does secure himself to make sure he's safe, is going likewise for a Raven drop across the map. Raven drop, Raven harass even. He's setting up for the harass, headed towards the main. But now Shameless is in position. We have plenty of Stalkers in the main base. We have an army, or we have adepts here at the 3rd. Raven comes in. Link is done, and we do respond. Ooh, the Raven late to react, and it looks like it will survive somehow, some way. The Raven does barely get out of there, gets 2 probe kills, but takes a lot of damage. And it's possible that this may just be a one-way trip for the Raven. The Raven is going to be trapped here in the corner of the map. Unlike Oracles, cannot regenerate its shields or regenerate its HP. So the Raven is pinned. And across the map, Spirit takes his 3rd base on location. 3rd base is on the way, building up a bio army, Marines, tanks, Cyclones as well. And just building up here, not really moving out anytime soon. When we do move out, it will most likely be with all these upgrades. Stim, combat shields, +1. We have quite a timing coming up ahead of us with our medevacs as well. And this is all soon going to be kicking in. Until then, we test the waters. Shameless does confirm the 3rd CC's on location, does confirm that we're expanding, that it's not a 2-base all-in. So Shameless feeling a little bit easy, or is breathing a little bit easier here, I'm sure. As Spirit is moving right through the center. There is an observer in position. Shameless will spot the army. Does get confirmation, is getting in position. That's 2 Colossus already done, 3rd Colossus on the way. Shameless is trying to catch this, and we'll get on top of the tanks. Well, the tanks are exposed. The 1st tank is going to go down. Yeah, big swipes here on the Marines. The tanks survive. Oh my god, the tanks somehow survived. Big volleys on the Colossus. And despite getting caught out, Spirit, he does maintain himself. He does hold. And Shameless is in a lot of trouble. We lost quite a lot there in that initial engagement. The Colossus do barely stand strong. We do have a 3rd Colossus now coming into the fray. We are keeping up. Meanwhile, Raven still keeping these Stalkers pinned. And Spirit, he's not pulling back. Still reinforcing. Getting ready for the dive. And Shameless, he is up against the wall. Again, I thought that the initial fight was going to go a little bit better, a little bit more in favor of Shameless. Tank volley is going off. That's going to be a cancel on the Nexus. He wants to try and save it, wants to try and collapse in. And we do force a cancel. Tanks are low. Finally, one of them goes down. But it cost us so much to make that happen. It took so long. As probes are falling as well. We got 3 worker kills. Back at home, we have our line of production on the way. 3rd base happily up and running. We're trying to go for a Zealot run by, and there is potential for damage. There's actually not much at home to defend. It's in the main, not at the 3rd. And SCVs are going to be going down. Not bad. At the same time, we break through the Colossus. Sorry, we break through the tank, what I meant to say, with the Colossus. And Shameless will defend. Meanwhile, across the map, that's going to be 7 SCV kills. Not bad. We get 7 SCVs. We get a Marine. Meanwhile, the Raven is going to be shut down. Not before throwing down 2 more auto turrets. Yeah, focus firing as many probes as we can. 2 more probe kills. And as the dust does settle, I still want to favor Spirit. Sure, Spirit, he lost his tanks, but we got Ghosts. We got plenty of Ghosts. Vikings are on the way. Marauders, +1 ship weapons. 2/2. +2 attack even. And Spirit is taking a 4th base before the 4th of Shameless. So typically the dynamic of this matchup is that the Protoss should be up a base. The Protoss needs to be up a base because of mules, and that is not the case. Not here against Spirit. For the Terran to be up in economy is a terrifying thing. Now Shameless has potential with the Disruptors. Disruptors have a lot of potential. We saw SKillous pop up earlier today. And show us how well can we handle our bulls. Nova zones away the Bio Army, but no connection. The concave looking shot, we get another Colossus. 1 Colossus goes down. We get 1, we're gonna get 2, we're gonna get all 3 of them. We break through the army. The Colossus crumble. The Disruptors, their Novas were not good enough. And Spirit has done it. Spirit, he has broken the back of Shameless. Shameless was holding his own for quite some time, but barely has anything left. No shield batteries, no overcharge. Nova's going off in a panic. GG gets called, and Spirit will take game number 1. GG. Our king is still alive. Spirit, he maintains his throne, is still our king of the hill. And can anyone stop him? Again, Spirit, he's a pretty big name. He is one of the best Terran players in all of Europe. He is the favorite. He's going to be the favorite player for quite some time. But when it comes to the competitors here, we can threaten Spirit, definitely, with players like Krystianer, Geralt, MaxPax pops in from time to time, Bjorn, Solar. We have embraced some Koreans in these events in the past as well. I'm curious, who do we have available, and who comes up next? To reiterate the format here of the tournament, best of ones. These are all best of ones, and we have 15 players. 15 players lined up, and they all rise to the challenge, one after the other. Oh boy, so it's going to be also a bit of an endurance test for Spirit to see if he can survive and if he can weather the storm of the onslaught of players. And who's going to be coming up next? We have our answer. We have our result. We're hopping over to the NA server, and I was not expecting this player so soon. I was alluding to some Korean players before. I brought up Bjorn and Solar specifically, but it's another Korean player, another top competitor as well. Oh boy. Up next, we're getting into another TVP. The challenger is NightMare. NightMare, the Korean Protoss, recently teamless, which is a little bit sad, to be honest. It's a little bit unfortunate. For those that are curious, NightMare was on Bleed Esports for quite some time, for a couple of months. NightMare was on Bleed Esports, but today NightMare did announce that he's teamless. NightMare announced that he was let go from his team. It looks like Bleed Esports were expecting NightMare to make it into EWC, into the Esports World Cup, and because NightMare did not make it into the Esports World Cup, it looks like that his contract was contingent on that, and because he didn't make it, has been let go. So it is unfortunate. I hope that NightMare can find a nice home and can find a team that can support him, but right now a lot of the teams are looking at EWC. A lot of teams are looking at the Esports World Cup. That is where their priorities lie. That is their priority, which does make sense. But NightMare, he's an amazing player. He is straight up one of the best players out there, especially one of the best Protoss in Korea. And NightMare can definitely take it to Spirit. He can pose a threat here, and it's not clear cut. Not clear cut whatsoever. If you're in the chat, predictions. Predictions are open once again. Place your bets. Reminder, it's a best of one. Anything can happen. Spirit, he can definitely take it to NightMare. I think they're quite comparable in skill. Honestly, I would give the edge to NightMare. I would give him the edge here, but we'll see how this goes. We shall see. Best of luck to our two players here, as it is NightMare's map of choice. We're loading in to Dynasty. Here we go. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Dynasty, we have our current king of the hill. We have our Polish Terran player, the blue Terran representing Na'Vi. It is Spirit. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing himself, currently teamless, but deserving to be on a team. It is NightMare. Here we go. Now, when it comes to the format, it isn't just best of ones. For those that are curious, it is a challenger pit. So, very few vetoes. Basically, the way it works is that the King of the Hill gets one veto. One veto available for the King of the Hill, and the challenger can pick any map from then on forward. So we're loading into Dynasty, one of the most vetoed maps in the map pool. We very rarely get to see Dynasty, so that's what I appreciate out of this format. Because the vetoes are limited, we get to experience some of these otherwise vetoed maps. We do get to embrace it. As predictions in the chat are about to close, so get your gamba going while you can. Probe does slip in. Just getting an eye on the opener. We can see that Spirit is going for an economic opener. It's going to be a Rax Expand. A CC, I imagine, on the low ground. Do we try to rush into the gold is the question. Do we take the risk? Do we try to take the gold base from the side of Terran? I imagine we do not from the side of Protoss. And there we go. CC on location at the natural location, not at the gold. Now, the reason why we don't take the gold on this in this matchup is because it can just be punished so hard. You can punish the gold base from both sides with Reaper, Hellion, with Marines, likewise with the Depths and Stalkers. Any ranged units deny any kind of mining at the gold base, so typically in this matchup, we don't take the gold until we expand in this area as a fourth, right? We can take this as a third, then we take this as a fourth on the other side. That's typically the case, typically. There are players like Bjorn, which do like to take the goal base a lot faster. Bjorn's build is to go for a Rax Expand into a faster tank production, into a fast tank, and our tank can actually protect the mineral line and keep us safe and sound. It works most of the time. Sometimes. It has mixed success. Well, we can see that Spirit, he's avoiding that. He's just expanding at the more natural location. Behind this, NightMare opening up Twilight Council, going for a Blink-based opener. I imagine Blink. So we are settling in. Likewise, we do have our Terran player getting to their 1-1-1. No delay on the starport. So not going to be hyper-aggressive, working towards drop play. As we do calm things down. Adept threatening shades. There's that medevac on the way. This is the same opener that Spirit went for. A very similar opener that Spirit went for against Shameless. Setting up for a bit of a kitchen sink drop. Moving out with Marines, Widowmine, Cyclone, and a medevac. There's a lot of potential with this push and with this army. So Spirit is moving out, and NightMare will spot this ahead of time. And can try to slow it down. Does threaten a shade. NightMare rotating. Does get some hits off on the Widowmine already. Oh, 2-3 hits going off. We get the Widowmine. Yeah, one more shot. The Widowmine does go down. Massive pick off. As we shade across the map, we threaten the mineral line. SCVs are going to be going down, or at least denied mining time. Ooh, and yeah, NightMare is doing quite a lot with so little so far. Meanwhile, the move out does not stop, and we're going for the pylon. There is no Tosis pylon here in position. NightMare getting in position, but the pylon is going to go down. Yeah, massive pickoff. We deny Blink. Well, Blink is delayed. So massive delay on Blink. Stalker's taking a lot of damage. Adept across the map is cleaned up. And NightMare thankfully does repower that upgrade with the backup pylon. Twilight Council back up and running. Cybercore taking a lot of damage. Yes, Cybercore is going to go down. Likewise, has to be rebuilt. Honestly, really nice pickups. We do see NightMare trying to collapse on this, but alas, oh, bleeds out a Stalker. Blink, still not done. Wasn't repowered, actually. Oh, that is unfortunate. Oh, God. You know, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. I was like, why does the Twilight Council still look dark? I was like, maybe I'm just like, you know, maybe I'm just blind. But no, it was out of range. We have to throw down another pylon. That's so unfortunate. With that, Spirit does take quite a lead here. At the same time, we get some harass here. Auto charge harass on the right-hand side. 3 probes go down. Drop, Cyclone drop even towards the main. Fully saturated on 2 bases. And we can see NightMare attempting to counterattack. It's a 3-gate setup here from NightMare. Is expanding, taking a third. Ooh, does shut down the drop. Oh my god. MilkiCow goes down. Stalkers get across into the main. But it's a tank in position. But this time we have Blink. We can micro back. Ooh, and we deny so much mining time here. 2 SCVs go down. No mining in the main base whatsoever. And NightMare, he's not going to take this line down. Oof. Takes down a Marine. Forced to pick up. Forced to get out of there. Third base getting up and running. And now it's NightMare's turn to be active. Going for the depot. Getting an SCV. Does avoid the tank shot. And even threatens Stim. Yeah, the SimCity working against Spirit for a moment there. Has to lift, has to delay any kind of starport production. Tank repositions. Yeah, interesting SimCity here in the main base. It looks like Stim should finish. Meanwhile, behind this, we have Charge on the way. Colossus production as well. NightMare getting into the mid-game. Getting into his Gateway Colossus-based army. And Spirit is still contained back at home. Has the Raven. And speaking of, the Raven is going to be active. Gets into natural, gets a probe. Not bad. At the same time, Spirit will lose a depot. And Spirit moves out. Uh-oh. As he moves out, we can threaten the main base. We're going for the tech lab. Stim is done, but not Concussive Shell. And the upgrade is denied. Going for combat shields, but it should finish up in time. Just barely. Spirit still moving out across the map. He ignores the harass in the main. But he does run into the tanks. Prism is coming back home. Dodging into the Colossus, I should say. The first tank going to be going down. We get one, we get 2 tanks that are left exposed. Every single tank going to fall. Yeah, NightMare is just having his way with this army. He completely shuts it down. He comes in for the surround. The Medivacs. The Medivacs are targeted. 1 Medivac barely survives. But we bleed off everything else. The Marines and the Marauders. And now Spirit, he's in trouble. He's down in supply. He lost every single tank, and there's nothing to protect the natural. There's even the Ghost Academy is exposed. And we're pushing in. We are pushing in. We have the Prism. We can reinforce. We're fully saturated on 3 bases. Spirit moving out with a Doom Drop. A bit of a desperation move. We're going for the base trade. And we have a recall. Bear that in mind. NightMare can always recall whatever he needs to. Takes out every SCV. We do have a bio army here on the high ground. We do have a decent army to hold on. But the Colossus are making their way through. At the same time, the third base is going to go down. NightMare does preserve his probes. And he's making his way to the main, camping the production. At the same time, so is Spirit. Pushing forward. No shield battery. No shield battery, no overcharge. Do we recall? Looks like we will. The army does pull back. Do we go for the recall? Never mind. Pushing back into the main. We're pushing back in. Spirit reinforcing once again. And Spirit, he's bleeding off too much. Despite the medevacs, Marines are going down. Marauders as well. Oh, it's a close hold. Very clutch. NightMare has barely an economy, though. They can barely reinforce. Ooh. Do force some friendly fire. At the same time, NightMare still wreaking havoc in the main. Vikings going ham. Nice kiting here out of NightMare. He can juggle, of course, as well. The natural base has been broken. And Spirit, he lifts. He can lift. He can try to evacuate. We still have a recall, but the final base is going to be going down. If we're going to recall, it has to be now. It looks like we're not going for it. Yeah, probes escape. Just full-on base trade. We escape with the probes. We're going for the elimination. Now, NightMare does have enough money for a base. He can throw down a Nexus. Meanwhile, Spirit, he's just lifting all over the place. when it comes to the main armies, NightMare will win. NightMare, he has, you know, the stronger force here in a head-to-head fight. Okay, there we go. NightMare does expand. Takes down the Ghost Academy. Should be racing over to defend. The CCs do spot the final base. And looking at the units tab, we have 4 Marines, 8 Marauders, 2 Vikings ahead. There's not much to work with, to be honest. There's just not much of an army here. It's slow and steady for NightMare, but he has workers, he has a base, he can soon get back up and running mining-wise. Cleaning up whatever he can. And sure, we have some orbitals, true. Like, we have bases that are surviving and we can mule, but when it comes to macroing out of this, like, NightMare's going to be in a better position. Now, you could argue that Spirit has production that's still alive, so he could try to stabilize, but the Observer spots the bases. And NightMare, he's looking to pounce in. You know, this orbital is going to be shut down. We have anti-air. And Spirit not in position to defend. The base is going to fall. Now, we could go for the base raid. We could try to rush in and snipe the base. The Nexus. Orbital's on fire. Spirit is pushing in, and NightMare's racing back home. Oh, can we save it? Can we mule? Can we mule the repair? It's going to be close. 5, 4, 3. Nah, there's no saving the orbital. We're down to 1 orbital remaining here for Spirit. Deeper's on the way to break out of the supply block. And Spirit, he does 9 mining. Not bad. But the juggling is solid here from NightMare. Saves the Colossus. Probes are going down. We're down to 1 Marine. It is awkward for NightMare to engage. It is awkward. You can see NightMare long distance mining instead. Factory has been found. Orbital's up and running. Zealot will come across the orbital. Oof. So Spirit not able to recover economically. Does break out of his supply block. We have starports on the way, but they're being denied. Am I blind? Why is it okay? I was gonna say, why are there 2 starports on production tab? Oh, but they are cancelled. Yeah, and despite the best efforts out of Spirit, there's only so much he can do with so little of an army. He has more medevacs than there are units to save them. We blink over the wall. Oh my god, he's crazy! Lose the Stalker. The Prism getting low. Prism is so low, but it barely survives. And now there's only 1 Marine for anti-air. Going for the feedbacks. Spirit's down to 1 SEV. Gonna get supply blocked once again. GG gets called. Yeah, there's no coming back from this. And NightMare knocks down the King of the Hill and takes the throne. GG. GG, well played. NightMare is our new King of the Hill. Congratulations. Spirit is a strong player, a strong contender, don't get me wrong. He's one of the best Terrans in all of Europe. But NightMare, we mentioned coming into this, can pose a threat to Spirit, is comparable to Spirit, if not favored in this series. And NightMare does bring Spirit down. GG, well played. And with that, we have our new King of the Hill. Congratulations. Congratulations to NightMare. Whew. But the question becomes, how long is his reign? How long will he reign here? As we are hopping over to the Korean server, we have our next opponent. Oh, this is going to be a wild one. We have a player who's good in his own right, but he is even more terrifying in this matchup in the best of 1. You got to know who I'm talking about. It's a Korean Terran player, but not living in Korea. He's a Korean Terran living in the land of Japan, the land of the rising sun. I'm talking about one player only. It's gonna be the most honorable of honorables. Let's go. It's gonna be NightMare versus HonMonO. Yeah. Let's go. HonMonO, he's known for all-ins. He's known for being hyper-aggressive in this matchup. Name a better duo than HonMonO and pulling the boys in a TVP. So I expect aggression, I expect an all-in out of HonMonO, but what kind of all-in? That's the question, because HonMonO, he's willing to do it all. Like, we've seen 1 base all-ins, 2 base all-ins, pulling the boys at any moment, at any time. I don't expect this to be a long one. Not at all. Not at all. So even though in a best of 3, I would favor NightMare. 100%. I would favor NightMare in a best of 3. In a best of 1, anything is possible. Anything is possible. If you're in the chat, predictions. The Gamba. It's open. Good luck. How many players to play the Hill Spare? 15 in total. 15 in total, and we're working our way through. Still plenty of players left. Still in the early rounds, the early stages of the tournament. Of the Hill, if you will. And here we go. We're jumping on in and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn. We have our challenger. We have our would-be usurper representing Team Hyper One, South Korean Terran, HonMonO. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing himself, currently teamless, but deserving to be on a team. It is NightMare, the current King of the Hill. Here we go. And again, my eyes, they're on HonMonO. They're on the most honorable of honorables. They have to be, PAPI. They have to be. He's an animal. He's an absolute animal in this matchup specifically. So we'll see if he can catch NightMare off guard. For now, NightMare being a nuisance, tasing away at that SCV, and the SCV's getting low. No! Oh my god. That SCV getting very low. 1 shot away from going down. HonMonO playing with fire. Does keep it alive. Has to pull in a second SCV. Does throw down the spray. Oh, I smell something, PAPI. A little bit of cheddar here. But is this a fake out? As a reminder, HonMonO has a reputation. He has a reputation. Everyone knows that he's hyper aggressive, that he's all in, that he's cheesy. But what's the best way to do when you have a reputation? Oh my god, it's the... Oh my god, the stutter stepping. HonMonO, calm down. Does out drill, does out micro that probe, will shut it down, will defend. And could we see a macro game? That's the question, right? Like, right? Do we fake out our opponent for now? Economic opener. Already, I'm in shock. Single gas opener, racks expand at a HonMonO. For now, everything is looking normal, but it's too early to call it. It's too early to say a macro game. It's too early to say that it's Hon macro. For now, it's still HonMonO. It's still HonMonO, PAPI. Let's go. Okay, so it's going to be a racks expand into what looks to be into a 3 racks. Do have our second racks already on the way. I'm curious if we throw down a third racks or a factory. Regardless, aggression. We're going to be getting into a mass bio composition, and aggression is on the horizon. There it is. It is going to be the factory. Okay, so it's going to be 2 racks into a factory into a delayed starport. This already looks like the beginning of a 2-base all-in. It is very common for HonMonO to build up into this, to mass up Marines, to work on a tank timing with 2-3 tanks, and pull the boys. Like, already a very aggressive setup here from the Terran. Is very aggressive. Behind this, we do have our initial opener from NightMare. Is throwing down his second gateway into a Twilight Council, into Blip. HonMonO 3cc, yeah, no third CC, no third CC. We're going for a starport. We're going for a very aggressive start here from HonMonO. Basically, what's happening is that we're delaying the starport in favor of a second racks, in favor of additional Marine production, in favor of tech, in favor of I would imagine stim. Before working towards our draw play, the hallucination does confirm. Yeah, big scout here from NightMare. He does get eyes on the delayed starport, does get eyes on stim. NightMare sees everything he needs to. Now, you could throw down a third base. Like, technically, with this build, you could throw down a third CC and macro out of this. But again, you know, it's HonMonO we're talking about. Like, he's not Hon macro PAPI, not typically against Protoss. So, we'll see. We'll see how he does embrace this. We're going for the add-on swap. Interesting. Okay. So, usually we would see a tech lab on the factory for tank production. This is a bit of a 2-on-1 variation. This is a 2-on-1 medevac drop. This is not seen too often in this matchup. Okay. Interesting. So, I guess... I was going to say we shouldn't pull the boys with this. Now we're going for a delayed tech lab on the factory. I'm very intrigued with how this all comes together. We're going initially for a double medevac drop with stim. We're going to be moving out. I'm curious if we do expand behind this. I would expect so, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm watching. Like, you have my attention, PAPI. You have my attention. Like, again, just because tank production is so delayed. Like, so delayed. But this could be for, like, a follow-up secondary all-in. As for now, here comes our 16 Marine medevac timing. Well, we're dancing. We're... HonMonO, calm down. What's going on? He's dancing, man. Having fun. Behind this, we do see NightMare just settling in. Get into his 2-base setup. Looks like 2 gates into Colossus production, into a third gateway. So very safe play out of NightMare. Not rushing into an expansion, not rushing into a third. I'm pretty sure HonMonO assumed that there was an observer over his army. That's why he danced. At the time, I don't think there was. I could be wrong. Maybe NightMare saw the dancing. I'm not sure. Meanwhile, HonMonO, keen eyes, does spot the observer. And that is the third CC. Do we cancel? No, we're not canceling, but we're going for a longer game. Okay, let's go. So 2-on-1 into tank production into a third CC. Now, we have seen this before at a HonMonO. If I'm not mistaken, HonMonO is looking to play out a quote-unquote macro game, but he's going purely Marine tank. Pure Marine tank, no Marauders, no Ghost production whatsoever. Like, we've seen this before. I think it was like 2 weeks ago in OSC King of the Hill. It was HonMonO versus SKillous, I want to say. Was it SKillous, if I remember correctly? But yeah, just like mass bio tank. May have been against one of the Polish Protoss players. But okay, HonMonO. And on top of that, despite the 2-on-1, we're not doing anything with it. We're just chilling. We're just chilling back at home. We're not being active despite the opener, which I would have expected HonMonO to be dropping, but no, he's staying back at home. Meanwhile, NightMare expanding, taking his third. Now, NightMare, his third base is late. Just to wind things back a little bit here, NightMare delayed his expansion for a bay, for robot production, for 2 extra gases at the natural, and for a third gateway before taking the third nexus. So NightMare was playing very safe. NightMare was playing very safe here, and because of that, HonMonO is kind of taking advantage of it. Kind of. Like, this isn't like HonMonO being hyper greedy, but still, you know, taking a third. Scan reveals the third base of his opponent, moving out with his double drop. HonMonO will expand, building up his tank count. And the tank production will continue. Again, that is double factory, double tech labs as well. That's gonna be a lot of tanks here for HonMonO. As even working towards +1 vehicle weapons as well. Just pure aggression, +2 attack, +1 vehicle weapons. Is building up. Double drop is still being active. HonMonO is settling in. He's building it. This is not what I signed up for. Scammed. True. Meanwhile, double drop towards the natural. Does focus on 7 pro. Not bad. 8 workers go down, but it did cost us 2 medevacs. I believe, yep, 2 medevacs went down. So that was the costly trade here for HonMonO. Two full medevacs for 8 probes. Behind this, more tanks. More tanks, PAPI. More tanks. Again, purely Marine tank. There's no finesse here. Despite all the Colossus, no Viking production either. Not yet. If I remember correctly, I think we just don't make any Vikings, if I remember correctly here. Like, based on previous games that we've seen from HonMonO. We just need man with gun and tank. That's all we need. And I believe HonMonO is going to max out and then push. And because his tank count is so high, basically it's an all-in. The way that it works here is that if HonMonO can catch NightMare out of position, one fight is all it takes. One big fight where we have like 10 tanks sieged up, massive volleys going up, and we can annihilate the army. It's going to be one and done here for HonMonO. We're up to 8 tanks, soon to be 10. We're getting there, getting up to 10 tanks. 4th base is being taken. Still massing up more Marines. Meanwhile, ooh, Storm is done. Now, the scary thing with this army is how fragile these Marines are. You know, all it takes is a couple of storms and HonMonO's army will melt. There we go. 3rd factory on the way. NightMare rotates around. He's headed for the 4th CC. Ooh, does catch some of these tanks. Yeah, 2-3 tanks going to be going down the storms. Oh my god, massive connections. Massive storms here on the bio. Tank's a little bit too far behind, and NightMare does take a fight. Planetary not quite done. Tanks late to siege. Not too bad though. We do focus on the Colossus, but it's going to cost us even more tanks. Yeah, NightMare, he does come out on top in this trade. How many tanks was that? 8? Was that 8 tanks? Oh, 7. 7 tanks going down for 1 Colossus. Sorry, did I say 7? That was 8 tanks. You can see one of the tanks died from friendly fire. So 8 tanks for 1 Colossus. And that 10 tank timing, that max out that we were working towards, it's not there anymore. We're missing our timing. Massive storm once again on the bio. Did you focus on one of the Colossus? And another! Not bad. Clean up the Colossus. NightMare being forced back. Ooh, bleeding off the High Templar and the Prism. And NightMare does overextend. Did overextend there. And HonMonO taking a much better fight. And now, this is getting a little bit rowdy. Things are getting quite intense here between our players. HonMonO is rebuilding and remaxing, making 3 tanks at a time. Building up his bio army. NightMare does have backup High Templar, does have storms. But this time the tank's a siege. This time we're ready. This time we are set up. A fusion core on the way. Bio army sims in. And again, we want to fight within range of these tanks. HonMonO trying to drag the army within tank range. And NightMare has to back off. Does have to retreat. 2nd robo for double Colossus production. Is backing off. HonMonO walling up. Turrets, sensor towers on the way. And HonMonO, he's rebuilding. He's remaxing. We're getting there. Now, how many tanks are we on? We're on 9 tanks so far. We're about to have 11 tanks, which means we're about to hit critical mass. Remember, we were, like, HonMonO was about to move out earlier. He was about to move out with his own 10 tank move out. Didn't make it, but now here it comes, the 2nd wave. 2nd time's a charm here for HonMonO. Here come the storms. Oh, they're going to be so away. Vikings are shut down. Tanks will siege. Big volleys going off with the Zealots. And again, this army, it's a death ball of an army for HonMonO. Just mass Marine tank. It's all or nothing here for the Red Terran. Meanwhile, NightMare setting up the surround. Is getting ready. Oh, massive. Oh my god, the storms. We stand in the storms and it was a bloodbath. So many Marines going down. How many was that? 31. 31 Marines for 1 High Templar. And here we go. Here comes the surround. We collapse on the tanks. Storms on the bio. Storms on the tanks themselves. Yeah, we're just completely shutting this down. And tanks are falling one after the other. There's 1 tank left. And now we're down to 0. Again, you can see how brutal storms can be, specifically against this army composition. And HonMonO is forced all the way back home. And now we can lay siege upon the 4th. We can just zone the bio army away. Now where are we headed? Going for the factory. Rotating over. Tanks do siege. And we can just focus them down. We get one. We get both tanks. Storms are coming in as well. And HonMonO, he can't really touch this army. Not when storms are involved. Ooh. There we go. The storms, we just throw them down one after the other on the Liberator. I was a little bit wasteful for NightMare, not gonna lie. We're running out of storms because of that. But we got the factory. HonMonO re-establishing himself. I mean, his economy is still looking solid. He didn't lose any SCVs. Bear that in mind. So HonMonO, like, macro-wise, he's keeping up. His army may not be as efficient, but he is keeping up supply-wise. NightMare taking another expansion. And warping in 10 zealots at a time. That's a lot of zealots, PAPI. NightMare rotates over, going for the planetary. HonMonO out of position. Massive storms on the mineral line. And storms on the bio as well. The Colossus survives. We bring down the base. And we bring down the Marines. The tanks that were all left in the back line. These tanks, they did nothing. And now HonMonO's lost his advantage. He lost his economy. Like, the thing keeping him in this game was his 4th base. And now he has none. No CC, no planetary. Is going for a big counter attack though. Oh my god. Oh, never mind. Never mind. As we shut it down so hard again. One storm is all it takes. The Marines, they melt. Terran play. Look away, PAPI. Look away, Terrans. Don't look at the Marines. Oh god. As NightMare's maxed out. At this point, NightMare is completely maxed out, and again, this is also why we very rarely see this army composition out of Terran players. This is very unique to HonMonO, going mass Marine tank. Terran players would usually mix in Marauders, Vikings, head towards Liberator production as well. They would head out of tanks into Widow Mines. This is just a very unique composition for HonMonO, and he does throw down storm after storm. We shut down the tanks. And NightMare looks like he has out. He's broken through. And NightMare's reign will continue. He brought down Spirit earlier, takes down HonMonO. GG gets called, and NightMare takes the game and holds on to his crown. GG. Yeah. NightMare is still our king of the hill. Congratulations, but that was a fun game nonetheless. Again, not many players do embrace this kind of mass Marine tank style. We've seen this before at a HonMonO whenever he plays macro against Protoss, and again, it's a very all-in way of playing just because it does not scale well into a longer game whatsoever, as you just saw. It's kind of a one and done sort of thing where you move out with an obscene amount of tanks, with like 10 plus tanks, and the goal is to catch the army out of position. Unfortunately, NightMare saw the army move out, and he was able to surround the forces of HonMonO. He was able to completely clean it up, and with that, GG, well played. We do maintain ourselves here, and sorry, for some reason the casting tool is messed up. Can we fix that? There we go. There we go. Sorry, the casting tool was just showing the wrong players for some reason. But has now been fixed. And now we're getting ready for our next series. We're getting ready for our next challenger. Let's go. We have a new challenger here. And let's see if anyone in the chat can guess. It's going to be a very wide array of players available, so best of luck. It's going to be a Polish Protoss. There's like 10 to pick from. Up next is going to be a PvP. A Polish Protoss player is looking to rise up to challenge NightMare. And this is a better hint, an easier hint. We talk about him all the time. Oh my god. We bring him up all the time, PAPI. And I just said his name. I tried to stop myself. I couldn't do it. Who's it going to be? For Berserker Esports, it is PAPI. Let's go. Let's go. NightMare versus PAPI coming up next in that PvP. And honestly, in a PvP, anything could happen. I still favor NightMare. Like, NightMare is a heavy favorite to make a deeper and deeper run. But, these players, they can pose a threat. They can pose a threat. Yeah. Let's go. Let us go. As it looks like we have our lobby. We good. We are good to jump in. It looks like we have our players, we have our lobby. We're loading into Oceanborn. Let's go. As a reminder, still a best of one, but NightMare, he has, some wins under his belt now. He's on a 2-win streak, 2-game win streak. But that was against Terran, and now he's up against a Protoss. And if you're in the chat, predictions are now open. So best of luck with your predictions. Best of luck is spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn. We have our blue Protoss player representing Berserker Esports from the land of Poland. It is PAPI. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the red Protoss player from the land of South Korea. It is NightMare. We go. Go. So we are going to be settling in. And my eyes are going to be on PAPI. My eyes are going to be on the challenger here. We have seen PAPI pop off in PvP in the past against players like Geralt, against players like Krystianer, against fellow Polish Protoss players. PAPI can hold his own. And we'll see how he compares to NightMare. What is BLD? BLD is Bleed. Bleed Esports was NightMare's team for a couple of months, but I said this before, I mentioned it before. NightMare is teamless. He did end up losing his team did end up letting him go today, less than 24 hours ago, which is a bit of a shame. It is a bit of a shame. NightMare is definitely deserving to be on the team. He's an amazing player. Is an amazing player, and hopefully he gets some support. Hopefully a team does pick him up. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. But now, 2-gate opener out of NightMare, 2-gate opener out of PAPI. PAPI going for a standard Stalker into Sentry. Very stock standard setup here from our blue Protoss. But NightMare going to be the aggressor, opening up Adept. It's going to be double Adept here from our red Protoss player. And I imagine going for a 3rd and 4th Adept thereafter. We'll keep an eye on the Adept count here of NightMare. We shall see. As we go, our first set of Adepts are moving out, and actually we're going for a double Sentry follow-up. Okay, so initially an aggressive start, but NightMare is not doubling down. He's not overcommitting, just moving out with our initial Adepts to threaten the bases of PAPI. And we'll see if we can keep up. We'll see if we can maintain ourselves. Ooh, as we do, shut down the Adepts. Very nice force. PAPI, calm down. Does wall off, does force field. The Ram shuts down one of the Adepts and does force the recall as well. So very nice response here at PAPI. Very nice defense so far. And with that defense, we're going for Hallucination Scout across the map, trying to get some scouting information. Both players are working towards their Twilight Councils and towards a Blink. But so far, so good. Upon losing those adepts, that means that PAPI's safe and sound. That means he doesn't have to stay at home. He can even aggressively chase back this adept. The adept will barely escape, will barely survive. We'll threaten another shade. One adept does not one-shot workers. We do commit, and that's gonna spell the end of the adept getting one probe kill. So far, not a worthwhile opener out of NightMare. But that was just merely our initial units. Behind this, Blink is on the way. There's a window where NightMare will have Blink and PAPI will not. But it's only a couple of seconds, not the biggest of windows. The biggest of windows here. Forge is on the way for +1, so PAPI's working towards the mid-game, working towards an upgrade timing. NightMare is avoiding that for now, and looks like he's going for a faster expansion instead. Okay, so we have a much more economic follow-up out of NightMare, meanwhile a more, I would say, tech-heavy follow-up here out of PAPI. Again, investing into the future, investing into the eventual upgrades. Hallucination will confirm that the Forge is on the way. NightMare is now aware that his opponents will have upgrades over him, and that may cause NightMare to embrace Immortal production to help make up for the otherwise Stalker deficit. We'll see. Keep an eye on NightMare. As there we go, we have our Forge on the way, but again, it's going to be quite delayed compared to PAPI. Compared to our PAPI. NightMare moves out, threatens the shield battery. Just applying some pressure, force fields, a solid blink is done for both players. And PAPI does avoid the army, does avoid the force fields. NightMare, he does push in, but he is forced to back off. Again, PAPI's holding his own. Behind this, we have Charge on the way. Working towards Charge, still +1, a Gateway Explosion, Robot Production as well. And I would still actually give the edge to PAPI here, so far, for the time being. This +1 is about to kick in. PAPI getting to his own Immortals. I assumed that it was going to be NightMare embracing them first, but no, it's going to be PAPI instead. He is embracing those Immortals. Nation diving in, does confirm the Gateway Explosion. +2 immediately on the way for PAPI. So he can work towards that +2 timing. Yeah, we're taking this slow. Taking it slow here, we're taking up into a Templar Archives, Immortals. PAPI's just going to be building up Immortals and Archons back at home and working towards that +2 timing. Meanwhile, NightMare taking another expansion, staying on a lower gas count. Just 3 gases here for NightMare, which means he can't really afford Immortals or Archons, not yet. Just mass Gateway army so far for the Red Protoss. Just Stalkers and Zealots. The game is going to calm down. We'll see if NightMare can overwhelm PAPI. Basically, NightMare will have, at least should have, the larger army, as we can reinforce with additional Zealots. Stalkers are moving out. Just moving out with our Stalkers for the time being. Rotating around, does confirm the Archons and the Immortals. NightMare is aware. With this, NightMare could just skip Archons and Immortals entirely, and he could go into Disruptors. NightMare has that option. Could try to rush into Disruptors instead. As PAPI does rotate around. Does push forward. Pushing up this ramp is going to be difficult. Doesn't attempt to, not yet. Big Immortal volley is going to be going up. PAPI maintaining this position. And does even catch out some Stalkers as well. knocking down these rocks, pushing towards the fourth base. We have cannon shield batteries on the way. NightMare getting ready for the push. But does he have enough? NightMare, he's up on Stalkers. But down on everything else is just pure Stalker here out of NightMare. At the same time, going for a big Zealot run by. Going for a Zealot counterattack, does hit the third. Do we have a warp in? Somewhat. Couple of Zealots reinforcing back at home. Meanwhile, we're collapsing on those Stalkers. Shield battery popping up. We have the overcharge. But even with the overcharge, it looks like PAPI may just barely have enough. It's going to be close. Yeah, some of the Archons stuck in the back line. Immortals do what they can. The force fields are on point. They zone away those Immortals. And it looks like NightMare is holding. Yeah, we shut down the army. We shut down the Prism, the Immortals. Everything gets cleaned up. Again, it was an awkward fight for PAPI. For a lot of that, the Archons and Immortals were not really adding any DPS. And we forced reinforcements back at home. Not across the map. And NightMare, he's pushing forward with purely a gateway composition. With purely Blink Stalkers. And PAPI, he lost his advantage. He lost everything. Lost the Archons, lost the Immortals, lost the Prism. There's barely anything left at home. And NightMare, he's coming in for the kill. Zealots will buy time. They will buy some time. But we can kite well against them. Immortal has arrived, will help. Oof. But the shields are triggered. Shields were triggered. NightMare rotating over. Going for the shield battery. We'll hold on for now. Does zone NightMare away. Behind this, NightMare taking his own 5th. Thankfully for PAPI, there's no Prism. Without a War Prism, there's no way to reinforce on the front lines. So NightMare overextending a little bit. Bleeding out Stalkers for Zealots. But there we go. But here are the reinforcements back at home. A massive wave of Zealots. And now NightMare, as soon as he consolidates his army, he can push in. He can push in and... even though we have Immortal Archon, even though this army is more efficient for PAPI, it's going to be a tough hold. And here we go, the Zealots, they have arrived. Stalkers, they focus on the Immortals, they get one, they get the Archon as well. We have the overcharge, but too little too late. PAPI bleeding off high-tech units, down to one Immortal. Yeah, NightMare is going in for the kill, snipes the Immortal. Even with the overcharge, it wasn't enough. And NightMare should barely have enough to break through. He has his own upgrade lead. Reinforcements, they do make it from across the map. I mean, the Blinks are solid and the SimCity's working against NightMare. But alas, he just has too much. The numbers are in his favor. Snowballing out of control. The suit this time is not lying, and GG gets called. NightMare will take down PAPI. GG. GG, well played. But a shout out to PAPI because he did not look too bad at all in this game. Honestly, I would have said, and I still stand by this, PAPI was ahead. PAPI was ahead when he was able to get into +2, able to maintain his 4th, move out with his Archon Immortal. Unfortunately, he did push in as there was a run by coming, moving out across the map, which did mean that PAPI wasn't able to reinforce. It meant that he had to split his attention, and he committed into a fight, which again was less than ideal. The force fields were really important there for NightMare. We saw it was just a really awkward engagement from PAPI, where even though he had a superior army, like the Archons and Immortals, they had a really hard time pushing in, a really hard time fighting and engaging, and GG. GG, well played. NightMare does take it in the end, and now we're getting ready for our next game. We're getting ready for our next challenger. Here we go. Who's it gonna be? Who is it gonna be? We're still trying to figure that out. Again, we have a lot of regulars here in this tournament series. Regulars like Krystianer, Geralt, Ziomek, Rodzin. Plenty of Protoss opponents are typically available. And here we go. We have our next opponent. it's gonna be. I mean, I just kind of said the race. It is gonna be another Protoss. Of course it is. Of course it is. Gonna be another Protoss opponent. A very different Protoss opponent though. Not a Polish Protoss player. Do need a moment to set up. But up next, it is going to be MindelVK. Let's go. Representing Storm, of course. Mindel has been very active here throughout the year and has had some really strong moments as well, where he's been able to pop off. And I do wish him the best of luck. Do wish him the best here as NightMare. He's on quite a bit of a win streak already. Is on quite a win streak here. 3 wins already. I mean, I say that, we still got a lot of games. We still have a lot of games up ahead of us. A lot of matches. And you can hear the beeps. We have our lobby, we have our map. Predictions are open. Predictions are open. And now we're getting into game number 2. We're going to be loading into Oceanborn once again. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have our red Protoss player representing Storm Gaming. He is our challenger. He is our would-be usurper. It is MindelVK. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player representing himself, currently teamless, but deserving to be on the team, our current king of the hill, with 3 wins under his belt. It is NightMare. Here we go. Here we go. Catching him in the chat. I thought EWC was at least 2 years, so 2025 also. I believe there's no confirmation that StarCraft will be a part of the 2025 circuit of EWC. StarCraft is not confirmed. But that's also why there's a lot of sentiments going on right now that it is important that StarCraft does well this year at EWC to allow it to continue. So again, do make sure you tune in, you support it, you support our players in the World Finals of the year. And I'm sure there's going to be, of course, more StarCraft in the future in the upcoming 2025 circuit. But we'll see. Yet to be officially announced, yet to be confirmed. But regardless, I'm sure at least OSC King of the Hills, they'll be around for a while. I'm sure. As for now, 2-gate opener. 2-gate opener out of NightMare, 2-gate opener out of MindelVK. So far, everything is looking as it should. Nothing out of the norm. We should be seeing some pretty similar builds that we saw previously. There we go. Stalker Sentry out of MindelVK, just like PAPI. Meanwhile, Double Adept from NightMare, once again, to be the aggressor. Now, we saw PAPI completely shut this down previously with his force fields, with his unit positioning. We'll see if MindelVK can do something similar. We shall see. When will the OSC Masters playoffs continue? I'm not privy to that information. I'm pretty sure was it Dave? I think Dave Tessa's casting that, right? I think Dave Tessa is covering. Yeah. I think Dave Tessa's covering the playoffs. Old mate Dave. And I'm sure Eddie has a better idea of the scheduling for that. But now it is. Oh, they shaded into the wall. No, the wall is a little bit too late. We shaded into the main base. Probes are going down. Disastrous start here from Mindel as we get 4. We get 5 probe kills. We get 6 probe kills. Can we get 7? We can. 7 probe kills. Can we get 8? No shot. And sometimes 2 adepts is all it takes. 9 probes in the main base. GG gets called. That is a game-ending amount of damage. And before we can really embrace the game, NightMare does take it. GG. GG, well played. The game very quickly escalating out of control. The reality is that in this kind of game state, at this level of play, we cannot slip up that early on. 2 adepts, as you can see, can end the game. 2 adepts, 1-shot probes, and very quickly, the economy did just crumble there for MindelVK. It is brutal, it's very cutthroat, very unforgiving. There's a reason why PvP is so chaotic, just because there's so many moments like that, whether it's with Adept Harass, whether it's Oracle Harass, whether it's with DTs, being caught out of position with Stalkers. Like, it's a very high-paced setup, a very high-paced matchup. And GG. GG, well played. NightMare takes it. NightMare does take it here. And with that, that means we have another opponent. Bit of a much faster game this time, much faster game. But we will see kind of where we end up. And who our next opponent is. Okay, we have plenty of players lined up here. And it looks like we are a third of the way through the broadcast. What do I mean? What do I mean by that? We have 15 best of ones, 15 best of ones back to back to back. And that was our 5th one. That was our 5th series wrapping up. We have 10 more ahead of us. 10 more to come. Let's go. Will we see a Zerg player? It's been a lot of Protoss and Terran. It's been purely Protoss and Terran here tonight. Can we get a Zerg? Can we get a Zerg player? Who do we usually see? Sometimes Wayne. Sometimes Wayne. Eba, if he's awake. I know it's quite early in Europe. It's what time is it? What time is it in the UK? 6 p.m. So it might be a little bit too early for Eba. I think he's gonna wake up in a couple of hours. Kappa. Este Eba, papi. Este Eba. So we'll see. We'll see as we have our opponents. Oh my god. Okay, it's gonna be a Terran opponent. Not a Protoss. I believe he's teamless. Yeah, he is teamless. It is going to be the Italian Terran player. NightMare is up against BabyMarine. Let's go. Let us go. Again, I always do appreciate casting BabyMarine whenever we can. Not the most active of players, but that's why we do love to embrace him in these matches whenever we can. And if you're in the chat, predictions. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take it here. Will we finally have a new King of the Hill? Or will our reign continue? We're here to find out. As spawning in the top right hand corner of Dynasty, we have our red Protoss player. Currently teamless, looking for a team deserving to be on a team. The current King of the Hill. It is NightMare. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Italian Terran player, the blue Terran representing himself, currently teamless. It is BabyMarine. Let us go. We are settling in. So now we are going to be opening up. Again, we're loading into Dynasty. Interesting map choice here by BabyMarine. Usually this map is vetoed and usually we avoid Dynasty. So I'm curious if BabyMarine has a specific build. I mentioned previously when we were going over, I think it was the Spirits matchup, how Bjorn has a build on this map. Bjorn, he has a specific build to get into early tanks, to get into our goal base a little bit faster. I'm curious if BabyMarine is willing to embrace that as well. For now, ooh, the probe was stuck for a moment. Tasing away at that SCV is going to be forced back. And we're opening up double gas. Okay, double gas opener here out of BabyMarine, going for a faster factory. A bit of a more aggressive opener from our blue Terran. Meanwhile, NightMare is expanding. NightMare does expand, going for his gateway into Nexus, into Cybercore. as it should. We see NightMare's checking for the expansion, checking for the CC. And hello, Mr. SCV. Are we going for a proxy starport? Okay. This could even be the beginning of a one-base all-in. I'm curious. We have seen one-base all-ins on this map before. NightMare takes the standard expansion. Going for the natural. SCV on patrol. Factory is now done. And there is the starport. Okay, we are setting up for what looks to be a Hellion drop into the gold or into the main. A very aggressive build here from BabyMarine. And we'll see if NightMare can catch up, or if he can keep up. Oh, and I assume those Hellions. We're going for Cyclones. Interesting. A reactor Cyclone production. We could even go for a proxy Liberator instead of a Medevac. We'll see what we embrace. Do we go for the Lib or do we go for the Medevac instead? For now, still no expansion. There it is. Liberator is on the way, so very aggressive here out of BabyMarine, very committed. Liberator towards the main, and Cyclones towards the natural. And NightMare did check for the goal base. He is aware that there's still no expansion. How many gateways? We have, just two. 2-gate blink initially here from NightMare. Doesn't have too much production to work with. BabyMarine checks the gold. Rotating around. Liberator about to pop in. And we're just rallying across the map. Everything we can. We have Cyclones. We have Hellions. And more Cyclones on the way. It's all or nothing here for BabyMarine. One way or another, the game is at to end. Either we kill the Protoss or we die trying. Bunker thrown down. Additional shield batteries on the way. These are late shield batteries. Yeah, they are late. They are delayed. Overcharges popped. We barely deny the bunker. At the same time, Liberator denied in the main. Gets zoned away. That overcharge putting in a lot of work. Oh my god. The overcharge pops off. We shut down the push, and BabyMarine has to tap out. GG gets called. The one base all in fails, and NightMare takes down another challenger. GG. GG, well played. I mean, honestly, there was a lot of potential in that push. There was a lot of potential. I'm a little bit shocked that NightMare was able to defend so well despite not scouting. And remember, NightMare wasn't ready for this. NightMare, it wasn't until he saw the bunker where he threw down 2 more shield batteries. 2 more shield batteries got thrown down afterwards as the all-in was happening. And despite that, NightMare, the overcharge popped off. Like, he didn't lose anything at the natural. He denied the Liberator in the main, didn't lose any damage, didn't lose any workers, didn't take any damage. GG, solid hold there out of NightMare. And with that, still our king of the hill. Still our king. Here we go. Who's coming up next? And who is going to be coming up next? Will we see a single Zerg player? I spoke about Eba earlier. I don't know if Fiant is part of OSC Elite. I don't know if Fiant is one of our possible players. Mixu is a regular. That I will say. Mixu, he is a little bit more regular in these tournaments, so we might see some Mixu action. Otherwise, could just be pure Terran and Protoss. It's possible. Miyamika, that's the other one. Miyamika does pop in from time to time if he's awake, if he's available. We shall see. As for now, it looks like we are searching for our next opponent, for our next challenger. We still haven't really touched the Protoss, the Polish Protoss players. Like, we've got PAPI in, sure. We had one, but so plenty more available as well. Likewise, who else comes to mind? Cuckoo. Cuckoo, he's a regular in these tournaments. Who else? Let me just quickly double check last week. We had players like Cuckoo, we had MilkiCow, Young Yakov. Oh, that's going to be a Zerg option. Mana, SKillous, ForJumy. Ah, Jimmy. Maybe. We're sifting through our players. And we have our next challenger. It's going to be another PBT. I actually just mentioned his name. We'll need a moment to set him up. Do need a moment here. Here we go. Okay, he's a beast. He's an animal. Unironically, it is going to be NightMare versus MilkiCow. Oh boy. Now, MilkiCow is one of the most aggressive Terran players in Europe, is what I will say. He's very aggressive. I've seen a lot of all-ins come out from MilkiCow, a lot of unorthodox playstyles as well. I'm curious how he approaches NightMare. I mean, we just saw an all-in from BabyMarine. True, we just saw an all-in from him. Do we see another from MilkiCow? Do we try to go for a longer macro game? We're here to find out. Are here to find out as we have our lobby. And we are jumping on in. Yo, and we're featuring one of our quote-unquote newer maps. Okay, now what I mean by that, for those that are unaware, we have a unique map pool here for OSC King of the Hill. It is the ladder map pool plus some extra maps that players voted on. We have an extended map pool for OSC King of the Hill. Now, we do feature older maps. If you're an older school viewer, then you should be familiar with these maps. Ancient Cistern, Death Aura, and Nightshade are the 3 additional maps that players did vote on and did, you know, add to the map pool for OSC events. So every now and then we get to embrace some older maps, and we're going to be featuring one of them right here, right now. Ah, the nostalgia. We go. As we are getting ready and we are settling in. Nightshade coming up next. In previous map pools, we had maps like Eternal Empire, we had Romanticide, we had, oh god, what's the underwater map? 2000 Atmospheres. We had that one for a while as well. Jagannatha. Basically, every season for OSC, they redo the votings for the players, and they do decide on the extended map pool. So it's a lovely feature that Eddie has for OSC events, and it's really cool just because it allows us to have just a more diverse map pool. It does allow players to play on maps that they would prefer to play on as well, as opposed to some of the newer maps if they're a little bit too quirky and too odd. So I do appreciate it. Here we go, we are loading in. Loading in. Here we go. And again, if you're in the chat, predictions are now open and spawning. In the top left-hand corner of Nightshade, we have our blue Terran player. Blue Terran, our new challenger, our new would-be usurper, it is MilkiCow. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss representing himself, currently teamless, but he's our current King of the Hill with 5 wins. 5 names already under his belt. Can he keep his reign going strong? It is a NightMare. Hello there. Okay, we have not just one Rax, there is another SCV moving out across the map as well. A very aggressive start already here by MilkiCow. I mentioned before that MilkiCow is one of the most aggressive Terran players in Europe, and that continues to be the case. Now we have our initial Rax, meanwhile the other SCV is moving out for a scout actually, so we're going to try and hide our build. Going to try and keep this hidden. Now NightMare is scouting. Ooh, NightMare, he might be familiar with MilkiCow. He checks the triangular third, he's checking the linear third base as well, and up! Ooh, NightMare does not go up the ramp. He's looking, he's checking, he feels like something is wrong, something is amiss, but he will not confirm the proxy. And MilkiCow even going for an E-ray block as well. Oh my god. And we're going for the tech lab. That is Proxy Marauder. Okay, not Proxy Reaper, but Proxy Marauder instead. A little bit more committed here at a MilkiCow, but it looks like because it takes so long to really get going, NightMare will eventually scout. Again, he almost checked everything, by the way. He was checking every single location, the third, the other third, the fourth, almost even towards the fourth as well. And NightMare is now fully aware of what's going on. Did go Zealot first. We'll shut down the eBay. And there we go. We have a second gateway. The Stalker's being chronoed as we speak. Shield battery on the way. So far, good responses by NightMare. Knowing is half the battle. And now it's all about the execution of the defense. Stalker has arrived. Second shield battery on the way. Because of Shell and done in 10 seconds, we force a cancel on the eBay. We can expand. And NightMare, he's holding. Shield batteries are done. We're holding on. Back at home, MilkiCow forced to expand. And so far, this proxy has not paid for itself. Did delay the expansion, did force a reaction. But I'm sure we were hoping for a little bit more damage. We were hoping for more damage. And yeah, MilkiCow is going to have to turn back around, racing back home. And we'll see if we can settle it into a longer game. Can settle in, going for our CC into 1-1-1. Meanwhile, the proxy is being shut down. We do shut down the initial proxy. And NightMare is going for a Robo Opener. Interesting. So with a Robo Opener, we can go into fast Colossus production. It's a really good way to shut down heavy bio play in case his opponent did go into like a 2-1-1 or a 3 racks. With the Robo, we can go into fast Immortals, into a Bay, into Colossus. Additional gateways are finishing up. Ooh, going for a War Prism first. Okay, a much more aggressive follow-up here out of NightMare. I imagine NightMare is going to be moving out. He's going to be moving out, he's going to be reinforcing. He might not have Blink, but he has kind of budget Blink with that Prism. And MilkiCow, he's going to be in a bit of trouble. Oh boy. We'll see if he can survive this, if he can hold on. Stalker's already engaging. They shut down the Hellions, going for the Marauders. And we get one Marauder so far. We get a second Marauder as well. Oh, the Medevac taking a lot of damage. No! Yeah, there's no escaping with the Medevac. The Medevac is shut down. We're going to clean everything up. The Marauders, the Medevac, the Hellions as well. And because of the War Prism, we're going to keep pushing. We're not going to stop. We're not going to slow down. Now, these Hellions... never mind. I was going to say they can force a defensive warp in, but we have units at home to defend. And we are ready for this. We got one probe kill, but just the one probe. Oh, we force field the ramp. We lock down the Hellion. Now we can focus across the map instead. And what is there at home to defend? There's one tank on the high ground. Oh, God. And we're going to target it down. Yeah, there's no saving that tank. The tank does fall. Marines thereafter. Remember, we can just reinforce. We can keep on pushing. Warping in right into the face of MilkiCow. And NightMare is snowballing out of control. We're down to 4 Marines. 5. Marine count getting higher. Tank does pop out. We can hold the line. Ooh, big tank fully going up. A bit of miscontrol there out of NightMare. It does bleed out some Stalkers. But we get the depot. We have control of the low ground. Oh my god. Tank does siege up, but we're going for the CC. Can we get the kill? It's gonna be close. It's so close, and the CC will barely survive. Whew. NightMare picking up. Dropping into the main. Tank fully gonna be going up. Not bad. MilkiCow is holding. behind this NightMare, going for a Dark Shrine. Oh my god. Going for a very aggressive follow-up. I mean, we have a Raven, so the DT doesn't feel like it's going to pose too much of a threat, depending on where the Raven is. True, does depend. Going for a big Zealot Warp in. These are going to be charge lots even. Charge is done. Uh-oh. Yeah, massive warping into the main base. We're collapsing on top of the army. Marines are going down. The tank as well. Boys, they have to be pulled. The tank will survive, but at what cost? I spoke too soon, as the tank is going to be targeted. More Zealots on the way. At the same time, we hit the natural. GG gets called before the DTs can really come into play. NightMare pulls MilkiCow apart and claims another victim. GG. The reign of terror continues. The night is dark and full of terrors. NightMare still is our king of the hill. GG. GG, well played. Ooh, a very chaotic game there. Initially starting with a proxy from MilkiCow. Alas, it got scouted. It got completely shut down. And very impressive stuff there out of NightMare. Doesn't just defend, but turns that defense into an offense. Being hyper aggressive and just pulling MilkiCow apart. And with that, we're getting ready for our next matchup. We're getting ready for our next game, our next challenger. Who's it gonna be? You know, I'm still holding out hope that there's a Zerg player out there. There's a Zerg player out to cast some kind of Zerg matchup, but oh, we'll see. Wake up, Mia Micah, wake up. We need you. I mean, I don't think Mia Micah would enjoy playing against a Protoss player, but we'll see. We'll see who it's going to be as we're getting our next opponent ready. I do see some players lying in wait. I see NightPhoenix is kind of lurking in the background. Who else do we see? So I'm sure NightPhoenix is going to be featured at some point here in the tournament, I'm sure. It's a nightmare. Keep mining, man. True, true. But speaking of, there's a reason why NightPhoenix was lurking earlier. It looks like we're going back to the PvPs. We're going back to the mirror matchup. It's gonna be NightMare versus it's gonna be a lot of fun. Cassie, I have had a hard time before. Oh boy. It's gonna be NightMare versus NightPhoenix. Let's go. It's gonna be a battle of the night, papi. Where's Baby Night? Is there another one? Is there? One moment. We have the Phoenix versus the mare. The horse versus the bird. Let's go. As our players are ready, we're diving into our next game. Oh, finally, we have a little bit more variety here. I mean, we just had a game on I almost said Night End. On Nightshade. Oh, we should have gone all the way. NightPhoenix versus NightMare or Nightshade. It's all, my brain is melting. It's too much, papi. It's too much. Oh god. But yeah, there's Baby Night, there's Night End, true. Oh god. Too much night, papi. And here we go, we're loading in and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Crimson Courts. We have our red Protoss player representing Astronaut Esports. It is, from the land of Ukraine, NightPhoenix. I almost said the wrong name again, like already. Like it's and spawning in the top right hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing himself on the team list, the king of the hill. It is NightMare. Let's go. Are settling in. NightMare with 6 wins under his belt. And can we keep going? Can we keep it up? I want to leave NightPhoenix. Oh my god, where are we going? NightPhoenix being cheeky, mining through these mineral patches already. And what is our plan? Are we planning to proxy on the other side of the map? Are we planning on the proxy? Ooh, the probe is moving out, but alas, we have our probe scout from NightMare. Will we confirm? Will we figure out what's going on? Initially, it's going to be a 2-gate opener. Probe will mine through, and the probe can move out for that proxy pylon. Now, this should be a proxy Stargate. Should just be proxy Stargate into oracles to get an economic lead and an economic advantage. I imagine that is where we are headed. Our predictions are open. Predictions are open for 1 minute. Best of luck. Place your bets. Meanwhile, the pylon has been thrown down, and show us what you got. Show us the Stargate. Meanwhile, NightMare is still trying to figure out what's going on. Does confirm that the pylon is missing, so NightMare knows that there's a proxy somewhere. No shot. He's checking. Up. Up. He does barely catch wind. He does see the missing mineral patches, but is that enough? Robo. We're going for a 1-base all-in. We're going for a 1-base all-in. I have not seen this build before in this way. To mine through the patches, to throw it down the left-hand side. Bold move here by NightPhoenix. And NightMare, did he notice what's going on? Did he notice the missing mineral patches? I don't think he has. Yeah, he's still looking. He's still looking for the proxy. Still looking for where it could be. He did not realize. He didn't see. His probe saw, but he himself did not. Yeah, he's just scouring the map right now, looking for that proxy. Trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Does have the high ground. Hey, NightMare shoots first. NightPhoenix has to retreat. Proxy immortal? Oh my. Okay. Ooh, as we take a brutal fight here in the center of the map, NightMare does out-control NightPhoenix. Takes down the Stalker. And is gonna hunt down the second Stalker as well. Massive pickoffs. 2 Stalkers go down. And now NightMare has a massive lead. Getting to sentries. Immortal will finish. Getting to a Warp Prism, I imagine. Yeah, there we go. Prism's on the way, knocking down the rocks. And the problem is that this 1-base all-in, it's already kind of lost a lot of its weight behind it. Like, we already lost 2 Stalkers. That's a big loss early on. Every unit, every Stalker does count. Speaking of, NightMare coming in with the intercept. And NightMare has a Stalker advantage. Oh, massive pickoff, massive catch. NightMare, he may not have scouted the proxy, may not know what's going on, but he's shutting this down already. Getting a 3rd Stalker kill. NightPhoenix dropping into the main. Going for the warp in. Army's out of position. Warp in does complete. Decent force field. Locking down one of the Stalkers. But he's throwing the Prism away. Is this going to be worth it? The Immortal doing a lot of damage. Gets another Stalker. And we'll get one final Stalker as well. But he's getting cleaned up. And NightMare will shut this down. Cleans up the army. We do preserve at least the Immortals. True. Immortals, they do hold on. We do preserve the Immortals. NightPhoenix embracing additional Adepts. NightMare trying to keep up. And here we go. We commit to the shade. We have control of the ramp. But we bleed out an Immortal. Bit of miscontrol there from NightPhoenix. Loses an Immortal. Is going to be forced back. And the more units we lose, the more difficult this becomes. Remember, there's no follow-up. There's no transition here for NightPhoenix. We're going for the Prism. Prism will survive. Bit of an overextension from NightMare. NightMare does overextend, but at the same time, we still pick up enough units. There we go. Depth's warping straight into the main base. We have a disruptor on the way. Oh, but he's crazy. Proxy disruptor. And nice force fields from NightMare. Leads out a handful of probes. Does maintain his economic lead. I say that NightPhoenix catching up in probes. But is oversaturated in the main. Is oversaturated. NightMare juggling back. Does push forward. Nova gonna be going off. Ooh, takes down one sentry, hopping up there from NightMare. Reserves his army. And NightMare will chase this back. Juggling forward. Nice shots going off. And it looks like the disruptor has reset. We have a Nova. And can we land? Can we pop off? Ooh, not a bad connection, but it looks like we have too much on the ground. GG, good luck in the next round, and NightMare will survive the all-in and take down another challenger. GG. That was a wild build. That was a wild all-in out of NightPhoenix. I did appreciate kind of how it all came together there and how unique it was. I haven't actually seen a Protoss player proxy on that side of Crimson Court in such a way. So yeah, really unique build there, and I'm really happy to see that the players like NightPhoenix are exploring and experimenting, and unfortunately didn't quite work out. NightPhoenix, he stumbled his way into the all-in. He bled out far too many Stalkers early on, so we never really get any momentum. But there's definitely a lot of potential with that build. I'm sure there is. I'm sure NightPhoenix has brought down many a Protoss player with that build. So GG, well played. My eyes have been opened. Have been opened to the potential of some more cheese on Crimson Court. For now, we are going to be settling down, and of course, NightMare does take another win. And who's coming up next? Who is next? Do we see another opponent? Do we have eyes on another player? Not yet. Not yet. Are going to be lying in wait. And I think we've reached the halfway mark, I think. If the math is correct. Yeah, that was our 8th series. There we go. 8 best of 1s in the books. We are halfway through. And we have still another 7 ahead of us. We're almost there. Working our way through the bracket. Working our way through OSC King of the Hill. Oh boy. And so far, NightMare, it is a bit of an endurance test. He's brought down a lot of players already. And can he keep it up? Looks like we might just go on a very short break though while we find our next opponent. Oh, we have him! Let's go! It looks like we might have our next player, and here we go. He's awake! He just woke up. God damn it. We have our answer here. He is not a Zerg player. He's embracing his Polish Protoss side instead. Should be able to hazard a guess as to who I'm referring to. It is going to be the Protoss player himself. It is going to be Iba as our next challenger. Let's go. It is going to be a PvP between NightMare and Iba. Again, Iba, he was a Zerg player and still plays it from time to time, but he has been off-racing quite a lot and has not made the official switch to Protoss yet, but he's been playing quite a lot of it and competing as Protoss quite a lot as well. Has been competing quite a lot. And we'll see if we can take it to NightMare. We have seen Eba's Protoss bring down players like Krystianer before. If you can bring down Krystianer, you can bring down NightMare. You know, I do think that Eba can definitely threaten NightMare in a best of 1. But it's the best of 1. Anything can happen. Anything will happen. Here we go. Alright, getting ready. Me and Mike? No, not yet. I mean, it's quite late. It's like, what time is it in Vietnam? I think it's like, what, midnight? Yeah, it's almost 1 a.m. in Vietnam. So I don't know if Mike is awake. I don't know if he can play in this. Likewise, it's getting very late for NightMare as well. Very late. It's almost 4 a.m. in the morning here. We're holding on, Papi. We're holding on. Let's go. We have our map of choice. We're going to be loading in once again to Oceanborn. And predictions in the chat are now open. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our current King of the Hill. 7 wins, Papi. 7. He's crazy. With 7 wins already, 7 names, 7 challengers have risen and fallen before his feet. It is NightMare. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have from the land of the UK, the Blue Protoss player representing the Platinum Heroes. It is Eva. Let's go. The PvPs, they don't stop. They don't stop. Eva, you were the chosen one. You were supposed to bring diversity to the tournament with Zerg. No. The answer is no. No Zerg. No Zerg. Smooch. Only Protoss. And a bit of Terran, to be fair. A bit of Terran. As our probe is moving out across the map for our scouts, Eba is opening up 2 gate. Now, if you're curious, if maybe you haven't watched Eba's Protoss before, he is not cheesy. He's not all in. He does typically rely on his control. Like, Eba has very, very solid blink control. Honestly, really impressive blink control, to be honest, out of Eba. And with that, he does typically enjoy going for a natural, getting into a third base as well, and embracing the mid game with a mass gateway style and a mass gateway composition. That's usually where Eba takes this. We'll see if that's what he embraces again against NightMare. Likewise, we'll see how NightMare approaches this matchup as well, how aggressive he becomes. But now we're settling in, and we should not be seeing a 1-base all-in. We just wrapped up with some very fast matches and some really, really fast games, but I imagine we're going to be embracing a longer game here between these 2 players. I imagine. I see the chat. Can somebody beat him? Someone stop this man. He's taking all of our money, Papi. True. GG, NightPhoenix, GG. You played well. Very unique builds. I appreciated it on Crimson Court. I appreciated the cheese. It was good. Makes me want some cheese myself. Eba 100% no, not as Protoss. NightPhoenix, you have no faith, fam. You have no faith. Oh my god, as we're going for a robo opener. Okay, so Eba is expanding. As we did mention, Eba does typically embrace a longer macro game in PvP. But NightMare going for the robo himself. He can turn this into aggression. I'm curious whether or not we expand or whether we commit to a proxy, but there it is. It looks like we are expanding. Meanwhile, Adepse shade in. Ooh, Adepse shade into the main base. Probes are going down. We get 4 probe kills already, and we don't quite know yet. We do get a 5th as well. 5 probes go down. Eba already taking an economic deficit. And NightMare is catching up with the expansion. Eba will have a faster base. He can recover with that worker count. But NightMare did well for himself and does help recover and recoup his otherwise later expansion. But again, a very safe opener here out of NightMare, who already beginning Immortal production. Now this could already be leading up towards an immortal glaive adept build. Glaives have been quite popular and quite trendy amongst Protoss players in PvP, working towards these big like 2 base all-ins or like 2.5 base all-ins with immortals and glaive adepts. We'll see if NightMare does embrace that as well. As Eva is working towards blink. Again, Eva has very nice or very solid blink control. So that's usually what he relies upon here in PvP. Here we go. I played amazing as a guy with 600 ping. Oh no! Hopefully your internet restabilizes. Hopefully it recovers. In Russia? No, NightPhoenix, he's in Ukraine. He's in Ukraine. Did spend some time in Poland. I think last year or the year before that. NightPhoenix did spend some time in Poland. If I'm not mistaken. But back in Ukraine. As here we go, we do see NightMare moving out again with our initial Immortals. 2 Immortals, we have a mass gateway army. The army is spotted by Eva. Eva is aware, and it's on Eva to slow down the push. Oof. To get a couple of hits in. NightMare has his own blink though. Has defensive blink, has Immortals. He's slowly pushing through his gaining ground. Eva up against the wall. Can we hold on? Can we survive this? Oh! So far, the juggling is solid. NightMare does maintain his sentries. Breaking through. Now, Eva does have a second shield battery and an overcharge. So Eva can hold the line. Meanwhile, Adepts, they shade into the main. They get dropped off. And they shade into the middle line. Probes are still going down. NightMare just going for the economy. Does get 3 probe kills, 4 probes, and backs off. NightMare, who's really just distracting the main army, gets economic damage done, and backs off, retreats, and is settling in towards a Blink and a Gateway Explosion. Continued Immortal production. Blink is on the way. 3 more Gateways as well. NightMare does pivot around, does rotate over towards the main. Going for the probes once again. And with Immortals, we can go for the Archer's Pylon. The Pylon is going to go down. Yeah, massive pickup. Pylon does fall, so does the second Pylon as well. Eva getting pulled apart. Blink is done, but NightMare does escape. Does back away. Eva, you can see, just getting in position, trying to catch out the War Prism. So here we go, NightMare moving out once again. Does free up his Prism. Will be able to unload. Rotating over. Eva does maintain the high ground. Solid force fields. Does catch a sentry. Sentry goes down. Eva getting into his own immortal production. I believe has not spotted the Prism yet. Is still in position. Still in position to defend. NightMare taking a third, rotates around. Eva out of position. Uh-oh. Yeah, we're cut off from our own shield batteries. Massive engage. Eva caught on the wrong side here of the third. As Stalkers are getting annihilated. No overcharge can come into play. And NightMare just cutting Eva apart, or just pulling him apart. And now we're going for the kill. Overcharge just not going to be able to come into play here as we do depower the shield battery. GG, and NightMare will snowball out of control and takes down another opponent. GG. GG well played again. A very aggressive style out of NightMare. Able to pop off with the Adept Harass, able to depower gateways, able to just catch Eva with his pants down. Was completely out of position, not expecting the army to have come in from that angle from behind. And yeah, with that, NightMare takes the win. GG well played. GG. And oh, yeah, it was a rough start for Eba. He's also letting us know that of course it was just a rough beginning ever since the Adept Harass. If you remember, Adepts, they got into the main, they got 5 probe kills. Like, it's always difficult to recover from that kind of start in a mirror matchup, right? In a PvP, I mean, we spoke about that earlier today. Actually, we had some really similar scenarios where Adepts shade in and they just end the game. They just end the game then and there. It can be really difficult to recoup from those kind of earlier losses in a mirror matchup, especially. And question becomes, who's up next? Who is our next challenger? Who's our next opponent? Who's it gonna be? Who is it going to be? Will we have a Zerg player? The longer this goes on, the less likely it feels. Just because, like, you know, it'd be a Micah. He's got to go to bed, man. He's got to get some sleep, some beauty sleep. Nah, he doesn't need it, man. It's beautiful. We'll see. We'll see who does rise to the challenge here. Again, we still have a lot of Polish Protoss players that we haven't really delved too much into, so I'm sure they're going to be available at some point. Who else? Who else is on the horizon here? I mean, we could still find Young Yakov, right? Zerg players like Young Yakov and Wayne might become available. Meanwhile, oh, we have our next opponent. Let's go. It's another PvP. Up next, it is a German Protoss player. You know him, we know him, we love him. Not quite Demauer, not the Wall, but is ForJumy. Let's go. The Jumy is here. I'm ready for some nonsense back. Let's go. Here we go. ForJumy versus NightMare in a PvP. And the beeps are upon us. If you're in the chat, predictions are now open. Best of luck. ForJumy is typically a very aggressive player, very aggressive. And I would not be surprised if we embrace some kind of all-in. Oh my god, we have our map! We're loading into Ghost River. For the first time tonight, Ghost River has been chosen. Typically a vetoed map in the map pool, but not this time. We're seeing it for the first time here in OSC King of the Hill, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ghost River, we have our... Bam, we have our German Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing the Platinum Heroes. It is ForJumy. And of course, the Parting Clan in-game. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Red Protoss player representing Offenlander, South Korea, the current King of the Hill, with 8 wins under his belt. Someone stop this man. It is NightMare. Someone stop this man. Someone stop this NightMare. It continues in his proxy. Again, no surprises here. We spoke about it earlier, but ForJumy is a very aggressive player. Cheese is what we expect, and cheese is what we are getting. That's 2 gateways being proxied, and show us the Forge. Okay, I was expecting another gateway, but no, never mind. The Forge has been thrown down. We're going into a bit of a cannon rush. Let's go. Let us go. Pylon has been thrown down. Boys are being pulled immediately. NightMare, he's on that pylon. He, alas, has not really seen too much. Behind this does confirm that everything is missing. The pylons are gone. NightMare is now aware of how aggressive and how committed ForJumy is. Predictions stopped early. Predictions were open for 1 minute. 1 minute. You gotta get him in quick, man. Gotta be quick. As there we go, cannons are being thrown down. The cannon rush is upon us. Oh, second pylon underway. The first zealot has arrived. And so far, yeah, we're going for the cannons. Looks like the pylon on the high ground gets shut down. The cannons themselves are being denied as well. Zealots are coming in though. And at least one cannon will finish. It's gonna be close. Up! Up! The cannon finishes up and it barely survives. Oh my god! 20 HP, the cannon lives. And now we get on top of the pylon. The first pylon goes down. Second pylon under threat. That's not Nartosis pylon, by the way. Adepts are on the way, but it's too little too late. The pylon will fall. Everything gets depowered. ForJumy! Is he the prince that was promised? ForJumy, he's doing it. He's making it. We have more pylons finishing up. And more pylons are finishing up here. Everything gets repowered. Adepts have arrived. Shield batteries finish up as well. We have an overcharge. Oh, not quite. We need more time. No overcharge. Cannons popping off. We bring down the Adepts. The Adepts fall. Only one. Oh my god. It was only one Adept. The second gateway wasn't powered. And it looks like we've done it. It looks like ForJumy. He was the one that was to do it all. GG gets called and ForJumy ends the reign of terror. We have a new king of the hill. It's ForJumy. Oh my god. GG, well played. The king is dead. All hail the new king of the hill. All hail ForJumy. Oh my god. GG, well played. Finally, someone could stop the reign of terror here. NightMare was on an insane win streak. 8 wins back to back to back to back. And how do you stop the NightMare? With something even more terrifying. With cannons. ForJumy, you're an animal, Pop. You're an animal. GG. Where is he? I have to message him. GG, well played. Oh my god. ForJumy has done it. 2024, still cannon rush, still victory. Yeah, of course, Papi, of course. Oh no. What is he saying? In German, we say... what does this mean? Hold on, I don't want to say anything. Where's Google Translate? Oh my god.
Weggekockt.
There we go. Weggekockt. Este ForJumy. Calm down, Papi. Calm down. But yeah, he popped off. He did pop off, and now we're heading over to the European region. Oh my god. This tournament does not get easier here. It gets harder even. I'll be honest, ForJumy did well for himself, but we have another heavy hitter lying in wait. This might be a short reign here for ForJumy. He is our king of the hill. But up next, we have one of the best Protoss players in all of Europe. He's been on fire as of late, even popped off earlier today in WTL. He is SKillous. Oh boy, SKillous is coming up next here, rising to the challenge. If ForJumy wasn't going to be the one to bring NightMare down, I mean, SKillous would have been rising up instead, and yeah, that's a wild one. ForJumy, he's like, you know, he's celebrating, he's excited, he's like, yo, I just brought down NightMare, and then we look over, and SKillous is knocking on that door, Papi. He wants his own win, he wants his own crown. Let's go. We're setting up. We are getting ready. If you're in the chat, predictions will soon be open. They will soon be open. Best of luck. The PvPs continue. They do continue. Jimmy the goat. Let's go. Oh, yo, I see Krystianer in the chat as well. They're all walking up. I see Krystianer. I saw Mixu earlier as well. Don't think I didn't see you. I saw Mixu lurking. Oh, go wait. Hold on. Okay, there's some banter going on, Bobby. There's some banter in the chat. Bold move here, bold move. SKillous. It's his map pick, by the way. As a reminder, it is Challenger pick. So Challenger has chosen the map. SKillous, he was watching. He just saw, I'm sure, what just happened in that last game. And we're loading back into Ghost River. It's gonna happen again. The deja vu, it's real. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Best of luck as spawning in the top. Oh, wait. Oh, Zerg, he's crazy. Wait, what? Oh my god. In the top left-hand corner, off racing, not playing Protoss, it is ForJumy, the current king of the hill. The Mad King himself of Platinum Heroes, and in the top right-hand corner, he's 12 pooling, by the way. In the top right, we have as opponent, we have the Protoss player. Oh my god. Oh, I did not know. I did not see that series. How did he beat Krystianer? But we have in the top right-hand corner, we have the blue Protoss representing Team Liquid. It is SKillous, the current challenger, the would-be usurper himself. ForJumy. Apparently, he brought down Krystianer. And now we're going for, I imagine, I remember. Sorry, I was casting, actually, 12 full drone pool. Oh boy. I do remember the series that he had against, well, the game that he had against Krystianer. And yeah, ForJumy, he's going to be doing it again. The drone is moving out, I imagine, for a proxy hatch. We'll see if we end up pulling the boys with this. Actually, we are in position to expand. Okay, never mind. We do go for the expansion. We go for the cancel! Oh my god! We go for the cancel, the drone has arrived, but alas, the drone is denied. Yeah, the drone is denied as we fully wall off SKillous. Not quite actually, but Cybercore has been thrown down. And the boys have been pulled. ForJumy, it's all or nothing. Hatchery in the main base, not on the low ground. Trying to force a reaction. Zealots are still in position. You can see SKillous not baited out of the wall. Boys are being pulled. Drones are still on the way. And SKillous, he is still in a bit of trouble here. The boys, they've arrived. They're drone drilling past. Yeah, it looks like we have taken control of the low ground. We go for the pylon. Pylon's going to go down. Boys are being pulled. We do have a second zealot just in time. We have our second zealot. Is it going to be enough? The first one gets surrounded. The first zealot goes down. There's one zealot left. One zealot remaining. ForJumy being forced out of the base, out of the main. Does get to use this around, but the drone drilling. SKillous, he's holding on. He cleans this up. SKillous will hold. SKillous will survive. And we can go back to mining. We can go back to mining. ForJumy has almost nothing left. A handful of lings. That's all we have. Can we actually break through this, though? The zealot is quite low. Adept is still on the way. Oh, God. And here we go. We're pushing in. The zealot's still under threat. Going for the pylon. We're going for the pylon here. More lings have arrived. Adept pops out just in time. Oh, we have the Adept. That was so close. ForJumy almost pulled this off. Alas, even with these things trickling in, we shouldn't be able to break this. Yeah, SKillous defends. Oh my god. GG. Apparently, he's played Protoss before, PAPI. It's crazy. GG, well played. SKillous survives, and SKillous is our new king of the hill. GG. Hold on. I need to... Okay. GG, well played. Congratulations here, as SKillous will take the 1-0, will take down ForJumy in a wild game. Congratulations. Congratulations here to SKillous. And shout out to ForJumy for spicing things up a little bit here, and did shake up the hierarchy of OSC King of the Hill. But alas, you know, the crown is going to be passed over, and SKillous is our new king. Let's go. The king is dead. All hail the new king of the hill. And the question becomes, who's our next challenger? Who will our next challenger be? Oh. Let's go. ForJumy always fun to watch? Always, always. It's crazy. Mama la micra. Here we go. But yeah, we have some players lined up. I do see some players lurking in game. I saw Mixu earlier. I see Fiant. I saw Krystianer earlier in the Twitch chat as well. I'm sure ready to jump out as well after competing in WTL earlier today. I'm sure. I see GG Machine. Who's it gonna be? Who is gonna be coming out next? So still trying to figure that out. Oh, predictions, of course. The pair of the predictions. Let's go. Could even be someone else coming out of left field as well. Like, technically, you know, if Miyamika is somehow awake, then he could also compete as well. True, true. Could come out swinging. I'm ready for it. As we are kind of nearing the end of the broadcast as well, quickly double checking, I believe, okay, we are 2/3 of the way through. Or just over 2/3 of the way through here at this point. 11 best of ones in the books. We have 4 matches left. 4 players remaining here in OSC King of the Hill. 4 challengers remaining. Who's it gonna be? Oh! Let's go. I mean, technically, we already had a Zerg player. Technically, we broke the curse. We had 1 Zerg player competing earlier in ForJumy. As he, of course, was playing Zerg. But now we get an actual Zerg competitor. Let's go. We are getting ready, and up next is going to be SKillous versus Mixu in a PvZ. Yeah, we saw Mixu lurking earlier, and he has made his appearance. Has made his return. Now, SKillous is the heavy favorites, but upsets do occur, right? We just saw ForJumy popping off against NightMare. Who would have thought that he would have been the one to bring NightMare down? Likewise, I'm sure Mixu is coming in with a build in store. I'm sure he's coming in with a plan. I'm sure. What do you mean, actual Zerg player, huh? You heard me, Pop. You heard me. Este ForJumy. Shaking my head. Shaking my head. But GG. You played well. You played well. You made a game out of it. Did make a game out of it. Oh, never mind. We might find a different opponent instead. Mixu is meant to be our next player, but I believe Mixu is... He might be in a ladder game. He might have been... okay, we're good. I was gonna say, Might have been in a ladder game during our last series just to warm up, but he has come out of game. He's back. We're good. Yo, ForJumy working against SKillous. ForJumy, he's letting Mixu know. He's like, Papi, I tried 12 pool drone pool. Didn't work. He's played Protoss before. I think SKillous has played a little bit of Protoss before. True. I think so. Now that SKillous knows that the 12 pool drone pool did not work, the question becomes, is that going to deter Mixu? Or is Mixu going to embrace it and do it again? Because really, SKillous, what are the odds that he thinks that that's going to happen 2 games in a row? Right? What are the odds, Papi? What are the odds? Just do it again. Do it again, Papi. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on how you think this series will go. Best of luck in the chat. As a reminder, it's going to be a best of 1. And SKillous is our current King of the Hill, but merely with only 1 game. Only 1 game so far. We'll see if he can extend that lead, if he can extend his reign here, as we're loading into Alkione as game 1. Oh. SKillous lied to Jimmy. Surely this is grounds for disqualification. Oh, true. Get him out of here. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkione, we have our finished Zerg player. I guess our second Zerg of the night, kind of. Second Zerg player here, representing Berserker Esports. It is Mixu. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player representing Team Liquid, our current King of the Hill with 1 win under his belt. It is SKillous, who I believe has played Protoss before. Crazy. Now we can see Mixu is droning. Mixu is droning up, so we're not going for a 12 pool, unfortunately. I mean, to be fair, we are loading into a much larger map, so this would not be the place for a 12 pool, I don't think. So for now, it's going to be a hatch first. It's going to be a hatch gas pool. Looks to be a more standard opener here by Mixu. We'll keep an eye on his gas timing, as SKillous does immediately make a beeline for the gold. SKillous checks the gold base just to make sure that there's no shenanigans going on. Gas is being taken, so hatch gas pull here by Mixu. Nothing too crazy, nothing too wild. Likewise, SKillous also making sure he doesn't get bamboozled by the gold base. Checking the main. Pseudo Zerg player. Aye. He's okay, ForJumy is as much, actually, I was gonna say he's as much of a Zerg player as Eba is. Yeah, I'll stand by that. Yeah. Oh my god. As Mixu does almost get this around, Pro backs off. Likewise, we do pull an extra boy, but the probe escapes! Barely! 1 HP, Papi, 1 HP. SKillous does get away. Does manage to get away, getting a full scout, being an annoyance, of course, as well, forcing inefficient mining out of Mixu, so a nice little start here by SKillous. So do pull back. Meanwhile, behind this, we have our tech of choice going for a Stargate opener. I should also update the Twitch title. I got you. Last going to be a Stargate opener. Working towards oracles, I imagine SKillous is going to be embracing a much more standard game. Meanwhile, from the side of Mixu, we're just taking our third base, droning up, and embracing a longer game as well. Despite how chaotic our games have been over the last couple of series, we're going to be calming things down and embracing what looks to be the mid game here between Mixu and SKillous. Ling's going to be slipping in, getting a free scout. Headed towards the main, and that's going to be not an Oracle, a Void Ray first instead. Okay. A Void Ray opener out of SKillous. Lings do dip in. Trying to get a scout off. Alas, I believe we do not get eyes on the Void Ray. Yeah, Stargate is not confirmed. Void Ray is not spotted. Adept threatening a shade, and the Void Ray is going to be hunting down these Overlords, keeping the Zerg player in the dark. And where does Mixu go from here? Now, Mixu's already warmed up. If you were here earlier, we did cast Mixu versus Su in WTL, in World Team League. Sorry, Mixu versus Su, what? SKillous versus Su in WTL in World Team League, and SKillous did pop off. SKillous was looking terrifying against Su, and did walk away unscathed with the 2-0. So SKillous, he's ready for the PvZ. Behind this, going to be an Oracle follow-up. We'll keep an eye on the Twilight Council timing. And second gateway gets thrown down. And the Void Ray is looking for another Overlord. So far, getting one Overlord kill. And looking for another. Meanwhile, SKillous going for a very early lair. Uh-oh. SKillous, you have my attention. That was what, like a 4-minute lair timing? Like 4:10-ish at most? But a very early lair timing there from Mixu. Void Ray coming in, going for the Overlord, and we'll get it. Overlord goes down. Oracle into the middle line. Void Ray will manage to escape, does barely escape the clutches of those queens. So does the Oracle, but SKillous has not checked the main, has not seen the fast lair. Now, we have only 2 gases. Do we go for a Nidus? I say that there's no Overlords out on the map. No Roachborn either, by the way, so I'm feeling a Ling Queen Nidus all in, but again, no vision out on the map to work with. Ooh, 1 queen goes down. There's the Nidus Worm. And we can at least reinforce, but a 2nd queen falls. Ooh, we're going for a Ling Queen Nidus without the queens. We only have 5 queens. Is a decent amount. We're flooding more Lings. 12 more Lings in production. Mixu amassing his army. And he has to rely on his Lings to give some vision, to give some kind of staging ground here for the Nidus Worm. 2 more drones go down. Void Ray still on patrol. SKillous still did not check the main, so he still is in the dark as to what's going on. And there's that Nidus Worm right outside of the natural. SKillous is trying to set up. We do have a shield battery at the 3rd, but no shield battery at the natural base. Can this still work out? Can this still work out? Can this pay off? Nidus Worm does complete. And here come the queens. We're waddling in. It's going to be 6 queens in total. 60 Lings on the way. Oh my, that's a lot of Lings. A lot of Lings on the way. SKillous not fully prepared, but does pull back. Does pull back to the shield battery. Oracle's coming in. As the wave of Zerg has arrived, the swarm is here. And trying to bust down into the natural. Cybercore is going to fall. Pick up the Cybercore. Force field has been thrown down. So far, SKillous is holding the line. We are holding on. Queens are being targeted down as well, but Lings, they flood in. And the wall has been broken. We're flooding into the natural. But some nice SimCity here out of SKillous. Very nice SimCity. Oracles are going ham. Lings, they get shut down. And the Lings, they do nothing. GG gets caught. SKillous comes in from behind, gets us around, and SKillous survives, taking down Mixu. GG. GG, well played. Mixu going for the Ling Queen Nidus all in. Did do well hiding the lair, at least keeping it hidden, I should say. But it was such a shame that we lost so many queens early on. Likewise, SKillous playing it very cool, calm, and collected there. Just, you know, keeping a cool, calm, and collected head on his shoulders, able to just pull apart the opponent, or the Zerg opponent, pull apart the army. Really nice positional play, really nice kind of last second wall off as well. And with that, SKillous does take down his 2nd opponent. And now we're getting ready for our next matchup. We already have a challenger. We saw him in the chat earlier. We saw him in the Twitch chat. It's going to be the Polish Protoss player. We had PAPI earlier, and now we have Krystianer. Man, let's go. It's going to be another PvP, and this is going to be a close one. What I will say when it comes to the European region and the European Protoss players, I would say that for a long time, SKillous has been the number 3. You know, when we think of top 2 Protoss in Europe, we think of MaxPax and Showtime, right? Like, they've been the top 2 for quite some time. As of late, it feels like SKillous has been vying for that number 2 spot, though, has been improving quite a lot, has been looking terrifying. SKillous is an amazing player. And just behind SKillous, it feels like Krystianer has been rising up. Like, Krystianer has been getting better and better results. Surprisingly so. I feel like a lot of eyes are on Geralt. Like, when it comes to kind of the rising Protoss players in Europe, a lot of eyes are on Geralt. That's true, they still are. But Krystianer has been getting better and better. It's been very impressive to see his rise. We've seen him time and time again bring down NightMare in best of 5s in the Sparkling Tuna Cup. And we'll see how he compares in a best of 1 versus SKillous. Let's go. Let us go. As we are getting those predictions ready. And predictions are now open in the chat. Best of luck. Place your bets on who you think will take this best of 1 as we're loading in, once again, to Alkione. Let's go. Let's us go. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkione, we have our red Polish Protoss player representing Starlight Twinkle. It is Krystianer. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player representing Team Liquid, the current king of the hill with 2 wins under his belt. It is SKillous. Here we go. And again, both SKillous and Krystianer did compete earlier today in WTL. They both did compete in World Team League. Did well for themselves. Krystianer went up against DNS. SKillous went up against Su. Both players having success in their own way. And now they face off here in OSC King of the Hill. Oh boy. For the time being, we should be seeing some standard openers. We should be seeing 2 gate versus 2 gates. Where it goes from there, we're here to find out. We shall see. So Krystianer is moving out with his probe scout. We have our 2 gateways from both of our Protoss players so far. Everything looking as it should. And when it comes to our matches remaining, I believe, do we have 3 left or 2? Are working through it. As the probe does get eyes in the main base, getting eyes on the second pylon. There we go, we have the second pylon from Krystianer, and SKillous does hide his second pylon further back in the main. Cheeky move here from our blue Protoss, and Krystianer has yet to confirm. Checks the main base, he's looking for the pylon. Alas, he's being faked out. The mind games are real, and we'll see how hard Krystianer responds. We shall see. Interesting. SKillous going for a Stargate opener. Okay. So is throwing down earlier tech. Going for Oracle Harass. Meanwhile, Krystianer is in the dark. Does pull back. And is tentatively going to be expanding. Is it going to be looking to expand? There we go. Nexus on the way. SKillous not too far behind with his own Nexus timing as well. As a reminder, going for the initial Oracles. And Krystianer with the Hallucination Scout should get a read on what's going on. does confirm that there is no all-in. Nothing too crazy. Doesn't get eyes on the Stargates, and speaking of in the main base, we are thankfully in position. Especially in case it was a proxy. Skills applying pressure, does deny the shield battery. Ooh, that was a kill, not a cancel. And shield battery was killed. Stalker's distracting Krystianer, forcing a defensive warp in. At the same time, Oracle into the main, but Krystianer is in position. Yeah, was ready for the Oracle. Ready for it, zoning the Oracle away. Likewise, back at home, SKillous going to be following this up with Blink, but because of course SKillous invested into the Oracle, it does mean that we have a slightly faster Blink timing for Krystianer. Second Oracle comes in, bit of miscontrol. Would you focus on the building? Oof. Yeah, the Oracles, they don't get much done. They get 2 probe kills so far. We get a 3rd probe just barely. Krystianer's holding. Again, Blink is on the way. We're building up a larger and larger Stalker army. It's going to be 9 Stalkers, sorry, 10 Stalkers at the 5 of SKillous. And this move out can hit like a truck. We'll see if SKillous does move, sorry, if Krystianer does move out, if we just expand, take a 3rd. I mean, SKillous is still threatening the bases. Still threatening the main. Back at him, SKillous playing safe with shield batteries on the way. Anticipating a move out. SKillous getting ready for that. Oracle, I believe, yep, does confirm the 3rd. That is a sign for SKillous to expand. So very nice scout there from our blue Protoss. Does confirm that Krystianer is working towards a longer game. Now, I'm curious if Krystianer takes another gas geyser. What I'm referring to here is that SKillous is building up towards 3 gases, is going for a more Blink Stalker and tech-heavy composition. Krystianer has been very fond as of late at going towards a more charge load-heavy composition instead. We did see it earlier today against ZNS. We've seen it even in days before that. Keep an eye on Krystianer. So now we are calming things down. Okay, there we go. We're going for the Forge. Both players are. Towards the Forge. Hallucination. Soak some shots. Nicely done. Charge is now on the way for SKillous. Trying to keep up. Shields are triggered on the Immortals. But Krystianer will take the better end here. He will take the better trade. It does punish the Stalkers. Does force them back. Not a bad fight here for Krystianer. And there we go. We're going for our own +1 in charge. It is slightly late. Slightly delayed here compared to SKillous. But we're getting there nonetheless. Oracle poised to dive back in. It looks like we're embracing a bit of a longer game. Big gateway explosion here for Krystianer. And did take at least a 3rd gas here at the 3rd. Speaking of gases, SKillous taking all 6 of his. 6 gases. Krystianer working towards the gold. And I imagine we're going to try and take advantage of these minerals. We're going to Mass Zealot. Oh, has keen eyes out of SKillous. The revelation. Shuts down the Observer. And with all these gases, what are we investing into? I assume it was going to be for Robo and Immortal production, but no, that is a Bay on the way. That is a 2nd Robo. Double Robo Disruptor production here from SKillous. I mean, I'm assuming Disruptor, this could even be Colossus. SKillous was known for relying upon Colossus for quite some time in PvP. That was like his go-to, his signature move. This was a couple of years ago, back around 2020. But there it is. Disruptors are indeed on the way. And as a result, SKillous, the quality of his army or his composition is going to be ideal. As the game goes longer, SKillous does scale a little bit better into a longer game. Meanwhile, Krystianer doubling down on these Zealots, on these Archons. And doesn't end up scouting, doesn't realize where SKillous is taking this. And how many Disruptors there are soon to be. Goes. Krystianer is moving out. Now, before we can really embrace these Disruptors, Krystianer, he does have a 30 supply lead. It's all or nothing. Can he break through here and now? Stage trap goes off. Massive stasis here on the Zealots. Massive delay. Another Disruptor has arrived. No's going to be going off. Ooh, we do connect on the Immortal. Yeah, but the Immortal does stand strong. We're pushing in towards the static defense. We have a line of cannons, a line of shield batteries, and another stasis. Ooh, massive stasis does connect with the Stalkers. And Krystianer, does he still have enough? And more Novas going off, Zealot's going down, but we're getting on top of those Stalkers. It looks like Krystianer, he has broken through. Before we hit critical mass of Disruptors, it looks like Krystianer is going to claim his crown and become our new King of the Hill. SKillous had a good run, but GG gets called, and Krystianer, he does it. He's able to break SKillous just in time. And Krystianer is a new King of the Hill. GG. Ooh. GG, well played. Again, we were making so many Disruptors behind this. If the game went any longer, then SKillous would outscale Krystianer. But alas, he was able to come in just in time. GG. Once again, new King of the Hill here tonight. And fun fact, we've only had Protoss champions. I just realized. I believe, I mean, no, yeah. I was gonna say ForJumy, but ForJumy did lose with his Zerg, not win. So it doesn't count. Pseudo Zerg player, pseudo Zerg. But GG, well played. Krystianer does take the win here, and now we have 2 best of 1s left. 2 best of 1s remaining here in today's tournament. Oh, my apologies. I forgot about Spirit. Yeah, true. Spirit did win at the start of the day. He took 1 win before going down. True. I forgot about Spirit, Papi. I forgot about it. Smooch. My brain has been all about the Protoss. And who do we have left? Who do we have remaining here? Again, we have 2 best of 1s remaining in this tournament in OSC King of the Hill. Only enough room for 2 more players. Who do we see in the chat? I see Fiant. I don't know if Fiant is going to be playing tonight. I do see him in game. Who else? Who else here? But again, this is also why, like, I was praising Krystianer earlier, talking about how he has been rising the ranks in the European region, and I would say Krystianer is now, you know, number 4 Protoss in Europe, has been getting better and better results, and yeah, is now becoming a terrifying player, even bringing down players like a Laser more and more consistently as well, even players like Spirit, as Krystianer is the current King of Poland, for those who are unaware. Did win the most recent Polish LAN, and there's another Polish LAN coming up in a couple of weeks, if I'm not mistaken. I say, sorry, a couple of weeks, in a couple of months. There is going to be another Polish LAN to see if a Krystianer can hold on to his crown, or if Spirit or Laser or even Geralt or another Polish player is able to take that crown away from him. We shall see. The king is dead. Long live the king. Long live, long live. we go. And speaking of Polish players, it looks like we have some Polish on Polish action coming up next. Okay, it's going to be another PvP. Shouldn't be too much of a surprise. Another Protoss versus Protoss. Let me just double check the team here. Let me just double check. They were once teammates, of course. They were both once on Team Blazer, but now they have since parted ways. I'm sure still good friends. It is going to be Krystianer versus Ziomek. Let's go. For one of our final PvPs of the night. And I will get those predictions going. Get them ready, Pat. Get them ready. But again, Ziomek, fellow Polish Protoss player, again, they were both on Team Blazer back in the day. I say back in the day, like a year ago. Both on Blazer. And Ziomek has likewise been competing for quite some time. We've seen that Ziomek, he's actually been playing, I want to say, was it the Scion mod? The Scion additional race mod? I think Ziomek was quite prolific in that community and was playing quite a lot of that as well, getting quite some good results in those tournaments. I'm sure trying out some of the other RTSs, but now, of course, the focus is on StarCraft. We did cast a little bit of the Scion mod, a little bit, but it was quite overwhelming, just because, for those that are curious, there's basically a mod in the game which introduces 3 new races plus the 3 that we have already, and the team is quite active when it comes to balancing it and introducing new units and all that stuff. We did cast a little bit of it in the past, like at the start of the year, I think, or last year. But it's been a while. We've been offered to cast more of it, but like we're just so busy. Like we're always casting something, so our schedule is pretty jam-packed. Haven't been able to embrace more of it, but here we go. We're jumping into our game, and if you're in the chat, predictions, the Gamba, it's available. And in the bottom right hand corner, we have our blue Polish Protoss player representing Super People Esports. It is Ziomek. The Super People. And in the top left hand corner, we have the Polish Protoss player, the red Protoss, representing Starlight Twinkle, the current king of the hill. It is Krystianer. Let's go. Are settling in. And as we're loading into Site Delta, what does that mean? That means gate expands. That means we have some more economic openers here between our players. This could spark either one trying to go for one base all in, or this could even spark the beginnings of a Phoenix War as well. We'll keep an eye on both Krystianer and Ziomek and see how we can expand and how we open up. For now, probes are being sent out, and the goal here is to delay the expansion, is to throw down pylons and force out a zealot and force out tech from our opponents. For now, there we go. Second gas guys are for Ziomek. With a second gas, we can go into a faster Stargate before Nexus. Meanwhile, Krystianer's being greedier. Only one gas. He wants to expand. Krystianer, he wants to take the base. He has the money for it. Ooh, 500 minerals, forced to throw in the Cyber Core. His resources are banked up. And oh, doesn't quite get it. Again, Krystianer trying to be greedy. He's punished so far. Do we go for the pylon? It's going to be close. And now we, alas, do not get it. The pylon is not thrown down, and Krystianer expands. So Krystianer will take an economic lead. Meanwhile, Ziomek is, I believe, going for a faster tech. I say that we have 300 minerals in the bank. And yeah, Ziomek is going for the expansion as well. There we go. We have our gate expands, economic openers here for our players. Krystianer has a slightly faster expansion, but only by a couple of seconds. It's okay. You can settle it. Meanwhile, we have a Stargate follow-up here by Ziomek. Likewise, Stargate opener out of Krystianer as well after the expansions. And because both players are opening up Stargate, that means both players, if they scout each other, can opt to go for Phoenixes. And this is how Phoenix Wars are born. This is how Phoenix Wars are made. As probes and zealots do confirm, we're a diva enjoyer. Let's go. Stargate further back in the main, actually. Which means Ziomek doesn't know. Uh-oh. Ziomek is in the dark. Ziomek is going for the Oracle. Meanwhile, Krystianer goes for the Phoenix. Not quite Phoenix Wars. Unfortunately, again, Ziomek, he did not scout the Stargate. It was thrown down behind the mineral line, and Ziomek doesn't know what he's walking into. This Oracle shouldn't get damage done. It should be shut down, and then Krystianer will take momentum. He will take control of the game and of the map. Things are looking a little bit bleak here for Ziomek. I am concerned. Meanwhile, Adept and Zealot have arrived, chipping away at the gateway. Gaining ground, no shield battery, so we're getting quite a bit of damage dealt. Oracle headed towards the natural. Phoenixes are keeping up. And we shut down the Adept. We head over towards the Oracle as well. The Oracle going for a suicide run, and it dives in. It is going to get oh my god, 5 probes. Calm down. Not bad. 5 probes for an Oracle, a Zealot, and an Adept. Not bad whatsoever. Not bad at all. But now we have momentum in the side of Krystianer. We're moving out across the map with our Phoenixes. And do we have anything at home to defend? Do we have enough? I'm concerned we don't. We have, there we go, 2 Stalkers in the main, 1 Stalker in the natural. It's okay. 3 Stalkers in total. But we're going to be ignoring the first Stalker. We head into the mineral line. Probes are going down. 2 probes so far. Behind this, Krystianer going to be settling into a Robo and a Twilight Council. Taking up. Ziomek is the first to embrace Blink. And does take a 3rd base. Again, the Oracle got more than it should have. And there's a little pressure on Krystianer to bounce back. Gets a probe. Gets 2 workers in the main. 2 workers in the main. Krystianer rotating over. And you can see how difficult it is for these Stalkers to keep up. Especially without Blink. Blink is still on the way. PAPI, Krystianer going for DTs. Bold move. Bold move here by Krystianer. I mean, it makes sense. We scout, we confirm that there is no Robo, there's no Observer. And if there was an Oracle, we could just focus it down with all these Phoenixes. Right, so no Oracle either. We've been here before. If the game progresses, if Ziomek does not throw down a Robo, the game is going to end. The game will straight up end here and now when the Invisible Man shows up. So I am concerned. I am very concerned. Again, we've seen players like Hero, we've seen players like Max Pax as well, just straight up tap out and die when the DTs arrive. It happens to the best of us. It happens to the best Protoss players in the world, where if you have no detection, like what can you do? Now, as we're talking about the lack of detection, Ziomek has quite a large Stalker army. We're moving out. Blink is done. 14 Stalkers moving out across the map, and Krystianer, do we have enough to hold on? We have Immortals, yes, but what about the 3rd base? It's going to be denied. Immortals are moving in position. We're going to try and hold on, actually. Bold move by Krystianer, but we just dive on the army. We don't have enough. Uh-oh. Krystianer is in a lot of trouble. 1, 2 Immortals going to be going down. We have to use those DTs defensively. Yes, we're just completely caught off guard. The army has arrived. DTs are waddling in, but there's nothing to stop the Stalkers. Not yet. Yeah, we're snowballing out of control. We do wall off. If Robo's on the way, the Robo's coming. Yo, and Ziomek, have we done it? Have we pulled this off? Diving further into the main base. DTs are gaining ground, but we fully wall off. And the Observer, it's on the way. The Observer's coming. And it looks like Krystianer, he may have tried to have a little bit too much fun with these DTs. He does have some defensive Dark Templar, true. but the observer has arrived. Oh, that's going to be 20 probes going down to the 18 workers of Krystianer. Very chaotic game, and we're still not done. Yeah, the Blink Stalkers, they dive in, getting more probe kills. Likewise, Krystianer's in the main. Oh my god. Krystianer's still popping up. Yeah, the Invisible Man may just be too much. Shut down, we clean up the Stalkers. We're still in the bases. Still in the main. Oh my god. Ziomek getting pulled apart. He has detection, but still bleeds out 42 probes. Ziomek has 3 bases, but so does his opponent Krystianer. He maintains his economic lead. Somehow, someway, Krystianer shuts down the main army, cripples the economy. 20 kills on this one DT. Oh my god. And we're not done. 21? 22. Oh my god. 22 probe kills. 23. Barely 24. And 25 towards the end. 48 workers going down, and Ziomek, his economy has been crippled despite how much damage he dealt earlier, which was impressive. I thought that Ziomek had this, by the way. He was popping off, he was sniping immortals, he was getting worker damage, he had detection. But unfortunately, his defenses back at home were lacking. And Krystianer is still in control. We're rebuilding immortals, Archon's back at home as well. Phoenixes, they threaten the bases, getting more probe kills. And it's all or nothing for Ziomek. With Blink, we can out control the army. True. Gonna try to out control. So, yeah, we have to pull back. And Krystianer is just building up more and more. Once charge finishes, we can move out. Like, Krystianer is still stuck at home until we can get into these upgrades. And once we do, it's going to be a tough hold for Ziomek. It's going to be a tough hold. Phoenixes, they check saturation. Again, Ziomek is catching up with the probe counts, but Krystianer has been mining more for longer. Has had the better economy. Even taking a 4th base. Now, this game could progress into just a longer game here. Like, Krystianer, because of the earlier deficit, he may just chill back at home and build up. And look to play more defensively. This will give the opportunity to Ziomek to rebuild and to remax, depending on how passive Krystianer is going to be. As he's moving up. Never mind. As Krystianer is sending everything across the map, we've got how many? We've got 5 Archons, 3 Immortals, and mass charge lots. And we have the War Prism to juggle back and, of course, to reinforce as well. We saw a very similar army snowball out of control and break SKillous. And now we're pushing in once again. And massive Archon shots. The overcharge is putting in some work, but there's only so much it can do. As Krystianer is snowballing out of control, he breaks through the main force, the main army. We do still have some Stalkers in the back line, but the Zealots are wreaking havoc in the mineral lines. And probes are falling. And Ziomek is barely holding on. He's got a decent Stalker count, but there's only so much they can do here. As Krystianer is pushing forward in towards the natural. He's looking for his kill. He's looking for another win. And he's going to get it. But this was a close game. Ziomek, he had his own advantages. He had his own lead. He initially responded well to the DTs. He was punishing Krystianer, but unfortunately, he was just unable to protect his mineral lines, unable to defend. He was pulled apart by the Dark Templar. And GG gets called. Krystianer takes the game. GG. GG, well played. But that was closer than I thought it would be. Like, I was favoring Krystianer coming into this. Ziomek made a game out of it, though. He made a game out of it. It was so close. It was so clutch. Again, Ziomek was able to... Ziomek made a game out of it. He was so close. It was so clutch. Ziomek, he was able to, you know, respond quite well. He was on hold position at the natural. He committed with the main army. He was getting probe kills. He was sniping immortals. Detection was arriving. But alas, just was not enough. GG, well played. Krystianer is one step closer to becoming this week's OSC King of the Hill. What do I mean by that? One best of one left. It's been an intense broadcast so far. Been live for how many hours? 7 hours. Oh my god. For 7 hours. And it all ends here. We're getting ready for our next series, for our next match. We're getting ready. And it looks like it's going to be... What are we getting into? And who is this? Hold on. It looks like we might have a revive? Question mark? We might have a revive here. Okay, I was curious as to who this was. I'm like, who is this in game? It looks like we're getting into a PvT. Our final series here of OSC King of the Hill. It looks like it's gonna be a PvT between Krystianer and MilkiCow. Okay. So for the most part, we had a unique player for every single best of one, but it looks like we have, yep, one final challenger. We have a revive. MilkiCow is back. And we saw how aggressive he tends to be. We saw MilkiCow against NightMare earlier today, and we saw a proxy marauder build on Nightshade. And fun fact, we're loading back in to Nightshade once again. Do we go for another proxy marauder? That is the question. Do we go for another proxy marauder here? As predictions are open and we're settling into the final series, the final best of one. It all ends here. It all ends now. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Nightshade, we have our red Terran player. It is MilkiCow, the final challenger. Hold on. Hold on. I got you. It's red, not blue. Bam. Beautiful. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Polish Protoss player, our current King of the Hill. The blue Protoss representing Starlight Twinkle. It is Krystianer. Here we go. Krystianer rising up with, I believe, 4 wins under his belt, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, wait, what? 4. Sorry. 2. Yeah, with 2 wins under his belt. Sorry, it's getting late here, Papi. It's getting late. It's 5 a.m. in the morning. 5 a.m. Been a 7-hour cast so far. I'm gonna sleep so well. And we're gonna do it all again tomorrow. As a reminder, tomorrow is gonna be Sea Duckling Open, followed by Cheesadelphia. So 2 events back to back tomorrow. Do look forward to it. I say tomorrow, technically later on tonight, as it's gonna be at 7 p.m. for my here in Australia. 7 p.m. is gonna be Sea Duckling Open. Currently 5 a.m. Let's go. Let's go. As MilkiCow, he expands back at home. He's crazy. An economic build as well. Racks expand. No proxy, no cheese, no proxy marauder. I'm impressed. Okay, okay. I got you. I got you. Here we go. As we do see Krystianer back at home, getting into his own gate expand, standard opener from our Protoss player so far. It is going to be a standard opener. Where we're calming things down, and oh my god, that is the third seed. MilkiCow, before the natural's even done, we're going for a Rax expand into third CC. We go from hyper aggression into hyper greed. Okay. Okay, Pap. I see you. Let's go. Este MilkiCow. Meanwhile, the SCV is being sent across the map. My eyes are on the SCV. We're going to go 3CC into like proxy starport. Or we're just going for a scout. Eyes are on MilkiCow. Behind this, okay, 3CC, 3 racks, as we have our second racks on the way, and I imagine a third racks thereafter. Behind this, we're going to be going for a Stargate opener from the side of Krystianer. Is going Stargate. I see someone in the chat, map pool new. No, these are old maps. Nightshade was in the map pool back in 2020, maybe 2021. It's been a couple of years. Basically, for OSC King of the Hill and for other OSC events, there is an extended map pool. Basically, players, they vote on old maps. The OSC players, they all voted on which maps to be added to the map pool. And they go through older maps, essentially. They cycle through older maps every season. And this season, it's Death Aura, Nightshade, and Ancient Cistern. That's it. Ancient Cistern. Unfortunately, we didn't really get to see any Death Aura or Ancient Cistern today. But we saw a bit of Nightshade. I appreciate it. As Phoenix is a dip in, they confirm the build of choice. It's not going to be a 3x, it's going to be a bit of a 2-1-1 variation. Working towards Stim. Phoenixes, they get eyes on the CC. They confirm it's already done. So nice scout there by Krystianer. Behind this, taking up, going into a bay, into safety immortal, into a third. Bit of a delayed third base here by Krystianer, who even further delayed by the SCV. Not too bad. SCV does delay, going for the E-wave block as well. Being an annoyance. Being as annoying as possible. And with that, MilkiCow will have an economic lead once he lands his third. Oof. Meanwhile, Krystianer getting 4 more SCVs. Forced to expand at the forward location. A very exposed base. We'll see if we can hold on to it. See if we can hold on. Meanwhile, we just see MilkiCow getting into his Rax explosion. Getting into additional Raxes. SCVs once again going down. It's slowly adding up here. It's been, oh my god, 8 SCV kills. And the efficiency of Krystianer, so far not losing a single unit. I mean, he's only been harassing with Phoenixes, so has been able to maintain them. So far nicely done here as another SCV goes down. It's going to be 9 worker kills so far. Just picking away at MilkiCow, going for a double drop, is going to be spotted. Oof. And the drop is denied. Remember, Stim is done. But the Stim timing is going to be quite delayed. Back at home, Krystianer getting ready. No shield batteries. Uh-oh. No shield batteries at the third. No shield batteries at the natural either. MilkiCow has potential. Is moving out. We have the main army towards the center. We have the double drop towards the left. But we have 2 Colossus on the front lines. Krystianer should be able to hold on. But what about the split push? What about the drop? And Marines, they stim in, and they go straight for the mineral line. The base is under fire. It's completely exposed. We do sort of the army of 1 Colossus towards the natural, 1 Colossus towards the third. And Krystianer, he does hold on. Does defend, but it's going to cost him. It's going to cost him 7 probes. Even more. 10 probe kills. We shut down the sentry. We get the adept. Solid pickoffs here from MilkiCow. Phoenixes will punish this. They do get 1 of the metamax. Ooh, the second metamax as well. Meanwhile, another drop towards the natural. Krystianer is able to keep up, but that's going to be 11 probe kills. So decent damage here, but it's is it worth it though? Because we're losing every single medevac. Full medevac goes down. Ay ay ay. That's how many medevacs? 3 medevacs, 16 marines, 2 marauders. It was a costly trade for MilkiCow. Especially losing those medevacs. We do see Krystianer moving out. MilkiCow trying to keep up. Does spot the main army. MilkiCow trying to collapse in. As the army does sim forward, but we have force fields. Charge not done. We're working with slow lots. Oh, not the best army here from Krystianer. But using the SimCity against the Terran. Yeah, there goes Academy working against MilkiCow here. We get 8 SCV kills. Waddling in. Mine shots not quite getting baited out. Nice on siege. Or on borrow. Oh. Solid EMP here on the Zealots. We EMP most of the Zealots, but charge is about to finish. This one is done. Boost Nation soaking some shots. A lot of the Viking shots, actually. As we rotate over towards the third base once again. Yeah, we get into the mineral line. More SCVs going down, and we collapse in. It's all or nothing, but this time we have charge. Phoenix is pulling back. Zealots are being cleaned up. The reinforcements are filing in. And it looks like Krystianer here overwhelms the Terran army. Big mine shots go off. We get 24 SCVs, 24 SCVs, 25 SCVs, 26. Okay, Krystianer, he got the damage he was looking for. Still reinforcing. No war prism, so it takes a while for the reinforcements to get across the map. But they do get here nonetheless. Oof. Taking both Widow mines. Once again, just ensuring that MilkiCow cannot mine. Cannot saturate the base. The Vikings are taking down the Phoenixes, and we have limited anti-air, so we have to respect that. You have to respect it. Vikings, they take down the Phoenix. There's only one left. And the final Phoenix will fall. And now our anti-air is 2 sentries. Uh-oh. I mean, despite that, we're still getting damage done. Still get all the workers, all the SCVs. Lost the shuffling back. The sentries, they get 1 Viking. There's only 1 left. And now we have to calm down. We have to calm things down. We have more Colossus on the way. Still limited anti-air. We have 4 Colossus now. Getting a 5th Colossus. Ay, ay, ay. And as Krystianer rallies across the map, we are moving out for a Doom Drop. Doom Drop towards the main. We do have a recall available. And that may just be our only option. And drop does get in. Krystianer racing back home. Does go for the recall. Recalls to the natural, which means the main base is exposed. Blink is denied, and probes are going down. And despite the trades that Krystianer was getting, bleeds out 13 workers in an instant. Same time, never mind. I was about to say that MilkiCow is recovering economically, but I spoke too soon. As we've got 7 SCVs across the map. We trade with the Marines. Drop comes back in. We're in position. Now, thankfully, Blink is heavily delayed. Like, thankfully, we saw like just the artillery pylon going down, and most of the main base is depowered. Alas, Krystianer, he still maintains that supply lead. And he's on how many Colossus? 4. Okay, 4 Colossus. Drop coming back in. At the same time, we're going for a split push. And remember, recall's on cooldown. Krystianer is getting pulled apart. We do defend the natural, but not the fringe base. The 4th is going to fall. drop into the main. MilkiCow pulling Krystianer apart. And we may just go for the base trade. At this point, the base trade may be the only option, as we cannot recall. Pushing into the natural at the same time. The third has fallen. The fourth as well. GG gets called though. We cannot defend against the main army, and Krystianer, he will take it. He will be our final King of the Hill. GG. There was potential in the base trade where we could have tried to go the distance there, but at the same time, the main army of Krystianer was insane. Krystianer also had a ninja base. I don't think MilkiCow was aware, but there was a ninja base towards the bottom left-hand corner of the map. So Krystianer could always, of course, fall back to that. So it wasn't in too much danger there, but regardless, GG, well played. Would like to have seen the conclusion of that base trade. Regardless, MilkiCow doesn't have too much faith in his abilities there, and in the end, will go the way of Krystianer. GG. GG, well played. And with that, we have our final King of the Hill. Krystianer will now have the option to come back. He'll have the option to come back as the first player next week, as he is our King of the Hill. So we'll have that option available to him. And let's quickly have a look at the bracket. Let's have a look at all of our matches here tonight. Catch up on what's been going on. From the top. Bam, here we go. The night started with Spirit. The night did begin with Spirit as our King of the Hill. He was able to bring down Shameless, but very quickly his reign did end. NightMare was on a tear. NightMare, he took down so many players. Spirit, HonMonO, PAPI, MindelVK, BabyMarine, MilkiCow, NightPhoenix, Eva. It looked like NightMare was unstoppable. It looks like no one could bring him down. But then we had the prince that was promised, the animal himself. ForJumy popped off. He was yeah, he came out of left field. Was not really the player we expected, but the player we needed. The Protoss we needed, even, as ForJumy cannon rushed the hell out of NightMare. I recommend the VODs. If you missed out, I recommend checking out the VODs here, as ForJumy popped off in a wild game, cannon rushed the hell out of NightMare. And even though he popped off, even though ForJumy was the player to stop NightMare in his tracks, it was short-lived, as SKillous brought ForJumy down. ForJumy did off-race. You can see here ForJumy did play Zerg and went for a 12-pool drone pool. SKillous survived it. SKillous shut it down. SKillous had a short run here, taking down ForJumy and Mixu, but then it was Krystianer. Then Krystianer was our final King of the Hill, bringing down SKillous, Ziomek, and MilkiCow. Shout out to Ziomek though, because, I mean, even MilkiCow as well. These two games were close. I mean, all of them really could have gone either way. So Ziomek and MilkiCow, they had their own good performances, but Krystianer was our final King of the Hill. So mainly Protoss, but Spirit had one win here. So we had some Terran representation as well. We had a nice Terran win to start off the broadcast before the reign of Protoss did dominate this week's OSC. GG, well played. With that, this event is going to be coming back next week, of course. Now, typically, we only cast this event if Wardy is unavailable. If Wardy is available, then he will be covering OSC King of the Hill 177. Otherwise, we might be broadcasting it ourselves on the channel here on the CranKy Ducklings. GG, well played. So we'll have we might be covering this next week. Otherwise, regardless, it'll be taking place next week at some point, whether it's here or on Wardy or on another channel. Do check it out. Otherwise, we're done here for the night. A 7-hour cast. I am giga tired. It's 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm gonna go get some food. I'm gonna go get some dinner. And then I'm gonna pass the hell out, Papi. GG, well played. It was a long broadcast here. We're gonna do it all again tomorrow. If you enjoyed the casting, if you enjoyed the broadcast, we're back tomorrow with Sea Duckling Open in how many hours time? 10 hours? No. Sorry. 14 hours. In 14 hours time, we're going to be live with Sea Duckling Open. It's going to be here on the channel. I won't be casting it. I will be I'll be adminning. I will be adminning the tournament, so do tune in. I believe Kuro will be casting that here on the CranKy Ducklings, and Yaku might join Kuro as well. Meanwhile, after Sea Duckling Open, usually we would have World Team League WTL, but tomorrow is a very special day. Because of Cheesedelphia. Cheesedelphia is a big event happening in the Americas region, in North America, or in America itself. We're going to be covering that. That's going to be taking place in, Jesus, how long? 20 hours? And around 20 hours time is going to be Cheesedelphia. Because it's in 20 hours, and because Sea Duckling Open is in 14 hours, we're going to have a break in between. It's going to be Sea Duckling Open, then a small break, then Cheesedelphia. In that break, technically we could cast World Team League, we could cast WTL Day 2 for round 8, but then it'd be like back to back to back. 3 events in a row, and I don't know if I have it in me to do that. I mean, technically I won't be casting Sea Duckling Open, but I want to make sure I'm well rested, and I want to make sure that that we're able to, you know, put on a good show for Cheesedelphia. It is our priority tomorrow, so I don't want to spend too much energy on WTL and be spent and out of it for Cheesedelphia. So that's the goal. I do want to be well rested and ready for it. So yeah, that's gonna be tomorrow. The day after that is gonna be Tuna Cup and World Team League. So day after day after day, 2 events every single day for the next weekend. So yeah, if you enjoy the casting, hit that follow button. Follow us on Twitch, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all things CranKy Ducklings, exclamation mark socials in the chat, and you'll get a link to all of our social media. Check it out if you're interested. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow for all of the StarCraft. So it's all coming, man. It's all coming. Let's go. Until then, thanks for watching. I'm gonna go pass the hell out. Enjoy yourselves. I'm sure there's more StarCraft on the horizon here. What else do we have going on? We have a Battle Aces tournament that's ongoing. We have Soup Global in 8 hours time, and plenty of StarCraft. Check it out. Otherwise, stick around. I'm going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. I'm not too sure who. I'll quickly check here who's live at the moment. Who can we raid? Who can we send our love to? I do see Rushy. Rushy is live. We've been raiding him quite a lot recently. We'll see if there's someone else that we can raid. Let's see. Who else is live? I see Blatok. I see Neuro. Belair, of course, was just streaming. Was just casting. Colossal Gob. Okay, Colossi's live. Could raid him. We'll see, we'll see. I see SE2 Fool. The Jamie Sausage himself. But we're gonna head off for the night, so thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for the support. We'll give another StarCraft streamer a raid, so give them a chance, give them, you know, your attention, at least for a moment, to see if they can grasp it and support other StarCraft streamers where you can. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time. Until then, hasta luego, ciao, bye, ciao. See you next time.